Alright, I guess I'm gonna wait for people to pop in for a minute. Ah, real quick, I'll just a second. I need to pull this down a little. Yeah. Oh, is that a sound? Yeah. So, yeah, hajime machi everyone. I'm gonna be... Hello! Yeah, I was having issues with Streamlabs. Yeah, hajime machi, but as it turns out, Streamlabs, or at least I couldn't figure out how to make it work. It couldn't get the transparency of the app I use for my avatar to work. So it was just kind of the standard kind of black and gray, missing source texture. You know, basic transparency overlay. It was just there and I couldn't get it to work. In terms of other things Streamlabs doesn't have, or at least obscures, that you can do really easily in OBS is ordering layers. It's really easy to move things to top or move things to bottom in OBS, but I couldn't figure out how to do it in Streamlabs. At the very least, it was needlessly more complicated. It wasn't something where you could just right-click a source and modify where it was. Can you see my head move? Is my head moving right now? Because I moved the Streamlabs overlay off screen to the bottom of the screen, and I just want to make sure that I'm still actually moving, that you can see my mouth move, my head move. You can see me exist. Okay, good. That's what I wanted to happen. Well, because my head wasn't moving a ton. Is it moving more now? Is it moving more now because I'm moving my head more now? I'm waiting. Okay, there we go. But you can probably guess what I'm trying to do right now. You can probably guess what I'm doing. Wait. Yeah, do you know what I'm doing? Can you tell me what you think I'm doing? Oh. Okay, as I'm sure you're aware, there's a funny quirk about what happens when you kill an unusual hilichurl. Can the one person in chat tell me what that funny special quirk is? Feel free to phone a friend. Yeah. You know what's going on. I was actually testing out earlier, a few days ago, checking the damage I could do with a Yelan charge shot, because I wanted to go for the style kill and have to shoot up Yelan's charge in the air and have it come down from a distance with a place teleport waypoint, so you could just watch it come down like a meteor and hit. But that's pretty hard to do, because not only do you need to know how to bank the charge shot, but you also need to have enough damage on a Yelan charge to be able to make it work. The easiest way to do it is, of course, having somebody else's world to... Oh, hey! You got some notifications! How you doing? I was... Yeah, but today is the day that I hit maximum rank in Genshin. Essentially, the way it works is almost all enemies don't actually give you experience for your characters or for your player rank, but this is a special secret enemy actually based off of the CEO of MiHoYo, the company that makes this game, and it gives you exactly 18 experience points, which is pretty middling. But through planning ahead, I managed to get myself exactly 5 experience points away from reaching max level. So, right now, I'm just gonna... You know exactly what's gonna happen. I'm gonna drop a big rock and kill this thing and get to max rank in a relatively stylish way. So, let's count down for the sake of maintaining tension. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's hit it. There we go. Dude, I got cabbages too. You know, that's the real reward. I don't really care much about, getting to max rank, I care about the fact that I got those entirely free cabbages. I think you can definitely sympathize. If you were under my situation and you had the decision between gosha rolls and money on one hand and then just free cabbages on the other, I assume you would pick the cabbages. After all, we all watched Avatar: The Last Airbender as a kid. We were all familiar with the saga of the cabbage merchant and his descendant in The Legend of Korra. But in reality, what's happening now is you get a few free wishes. You get wish currency too, but you always say that for limited banners. You get 3 free wishes to use for the standard banner, which is never optimal to roll on unless you have the standard wish items. So right now, just give me a second. I'm going to toss a few at this banner right here. I'm at exactly 80 pity, soft pity in this game. In other words, when you have a much higher chance of getting a 5-star maximum rank limited item, it starts at 75. Once you get to the 90th roll, it's guaranteed, but yeah, just give me a second real quick. Okay, cool. 3 wishes. I actually have 6 available, 2 from one of the in-game exploration reward systems and another from the battle pass. But right now we're just rolling the ones we get from. Oh my goodness, that's 81 pity and there's still... Okay, 82. 82. Let's see what I get. Oh, there we go. Let's see what happens. What happens? Yo! Claymore? I was kind of thinking about what I wanted to get. And, why not? Let's go for another roll. Yeah, there we go. Back to 1 pity. Back to 1 pity. Back to 1 pity. The funny thing about it is... Just a second. The funny thing about it is that, call me a jerk, call me ungrateful, but this Claymore is honestly not particularly good. There's a 4-star Claymore that's pretty much entirely better. And this Claymore, it's kind of scuffed. It's so scuffed that as a weapon that's been in the game since the very start, it still has pretty much no documentation. It's just not good enough to document because all the weapons in its series, the Skyward series, there's a Skyward Tome, Lost Prayer to the Sacred Winds, Skyward Atlas, and then there's the Skyward Blade, the Skyward Spine, which is the spear, and then the Skyward Harp, the bow, and all those have documentation and videos of their special abilities because they're actually good, or at least have use cases, but this one is kind of not good, to the point where the wiki does not have a video of its weapon passive working. So actually, the Skyward Sword, guys. You know what else is a Skyward Sword? The remake of Kirby's Return to Dreamland, the demo of which I played today, it added in an ability for, a move. It would be weird to call inabilities ability. One of the moves of the sword ability that got added in one of the later Kirby games called... Let's go for some... Yeah, let me show off. Let me at least show this thing off. Let me actually see... Let me see what the wind blades of this thing look like, because the wiki did not show me. But as I was saying, in Triple Deluxe, which was the Kirby game right after Return to Dreamland, they added a move for the sword ability that's just a reference to The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. You hold your sword up, you get a beam you can shoot. But that wasn't in Return to Dreamland, but they added it to the Return to Dreamland remake. But yeah, absolutely no damage, even on this character. Let's see. Yeah, and he's shooting out his little wind blades. Isn't that cool? Oh my goodness, now I feel like a clown. But yeah, these wind blades do pretty much nothing, because they're just physical damage. It's not even that good on Razor. Again, I feel ungrateful and like a clown for saying I wish I would have gotten a better weapon from the free fates I got off Standard Banner, but in reality I kind of do wish I had gotten a better weapon. Because I was kind of thinking, out of all the weapons I could possibly get, I think Skyward Pride would be the one I would like least. And then I get Skyward Pride. I think that there's probably some kind of element of divine punishment or recompense here. But either way, I think we'll be meditating on this one far in the future. It'll be in the history books. It'll be in my biography. When I write my biography in a good 60 or so years, I'll be like, yeah, when I was 21, I rolled on the Genshin standard Gasha banner and got a Gimpy Claymore that I didn't want. And this was why I became a career criminal. Bad Genshin Gasha rolls. If it happened to you, you would understand, I'm sure. But either way, my high refinement, my high level Serpent Spine is, to my chagrin, literally better. Yeah, but just to be funny and silly, I am also a very tiny... Yeah, exactly. Genshin Gasha rates, they're gonna make me kill a man. Like, I'm not even culpable at this point. It's MiHoYo's fault. If the court goes after anyone, they should get Da Wei, the CEO of MiHoYo, get China to extradite him and blame him for that man's murder. I can do no wrong. Oh my goodness, that Dragoon Leap totally missed the pig. New sentences. But, oh, as I was saying, I'm very close to getting another one of those free standard Gasha rolls via the Battle Pass. I'm very close to maximum Battle Pass level. So I'll just do my dailies real quick so I can get those out of the way. Do a couple more rolls and then show you what you all wanted to see, which is me doing Abyss, which is the game's primary gauntlet for those who don't know. For the one person in chat who does not know about Genshin. But real quick. There we go. Yeah. I'm really happy that I leveled up Scaramouche. Just for the sake of doing dailies. Because the way I play this game, at least in terms of dailies, is I always just cycle through characters who aren't at max friendship or bond level or whatever you want to call it, so that I can always be getting bond through doing my dailies, which means I have to always be leveling up characters so that I can have characters to cycle through, because if I just never level them up, I would get to the point where, oh yeah, low friendship characters and they're all mid-level and literally unusable for the sake of dailies. So you get to the point where you have to be leveling up characters just to have characters for use if you want to actually level people's friendship up. It's just one of those completionist instincts, one of those dumb and silly things you do. But as I was saying, Scaramouche doesn't get a lot from buffs, but in exchange, he works pretty well with just his base kit. And that's the whole thing right now, is that he doesn't really have any kind of specific team for him right now. It's just standard. They are all in Teapot. I just speed up the process even more by also using them for comms. And when I do world bosses or Andreas, the one weekly boss, so you can actually switch out to claim the Blossom, I switch out my party just so I can give them the friendship experience from claiming rewards. Believe me, it really is just an example of my true completionist dedication to this game. I've said it before and I'll say it again, that I do want to get all characters eventually, which is a surprisingly reasonable goal. If I wanted to do that in Fate Grand Order, that would be a fool's errand. But it's... Burr. What did you say burr in response to? Are you outside and just very cold or something? Because if you are, I'd say you should probably get inside. You should take care of yourself. Not sure why you would have to make a decision between watching a stream and enjoying the warmth of indoor heating, but if you really had to, I would go for the indoor heating every time. No streamer is entertaining enough to justify literally freezing to death. Even me. I know I'm just incredibly charismatic and enjoyable, but a warm non-viewer is better than a frozen viewer. I think that's how I'd put it. But, as I was saying, the pace of character releases in Genshin is not incredibly high. If you want to get every character in the game, if that's your goal and you disregard weapons and of course pay for the battle pass and stuff, it's actually a pretty reasonable goal. And frankly, whenever I see people doing showcases of their teams where they have a couple of characters at high constellation levels, which are basically incremental ability upgrades that you get through rolling additional copies of characters, which is reasonable to get for 4-star characters, but it's very hard for 5-star characters whose rates are, exponentially smaller. But you really don't need need 5-star constellations for anything at all. They can be nice to have, but there are very few that are really impactful enough to make a difference, and those are at high enough levels that you need to either be saving up for a huge amount of time or just specifically whaling for those upgrades in particular. I will say I have 2 limited 5 stars with constellations. I have C1 Ganyu and C1 Hu Tao. I didn't really go for C1 Ganyu. I got both of them at really, really low pity. I got very lucky. I'm very thankful for that. Ganyu's is not that impactful because it slightly makes her energy needs, in other words, it makes her super recharge faster if you're using her for her actual bow charge shots. But when you're using her for her super, you're not really doing many charge shots, so in practice it doesn't really mean much. It does give you a little bit of extra damage straight up via increasing enemies' damage vulnerability when you hit them with her charge shots, but it's really not that big. It's a nice to have, but it's really nothing special. On the other hand, one of the other ones I have is Hu Tao's C1, Hu Tao's first ability upgrade, and that one is really, really impactful and really, really good. And I don't think I could say I was specifically going for that one. I did more rolls on her banner in the hopes of getting it, but I was never under the impression of, yeah, I saved up a bunch, I want to get her upgrade. But for what it's worth, it is a really good upgrade. And for context, Hu Tao is a character who functions by using her charge attacks. She uses a spear, and her whole deal is that she'll charge forward and do kind of a leaping stab with her spear, and that's how she gets most of her damage, and it's really quite good. But, of course, it consumes her stamina. Yeah, that's 100% all the time the most enjoyable way to kill off those Pyro Abyss mages. When they have that same kind of water commission over here, there's a Pyro Abyss mage you pass back if you take the quick route from the domain over here. And if you're smart and you want to get some extra materials, you can very easily lure that Pyro Mage into the water and kill it with little to no additional effort. It's very funny and silly. I like it. But, like I was saying just now, Hu Tao's whole deal is that she uses charge attacks while she's basically in her, quote, kind of in her stance. Her stance state, it makes her really strong, but use up your stamina to do charge attacks, and there we go, another wish. Let's see, let's go. I'm going to go for the Praxis. Oh, yeah. I did. I got the maximum level battle pass. You could be like me. With enough dedication, you can be just like me. But as I was saying just now, it consumes her stamina gauge, so you can't do that too much. Or you have to complicate it by canceling her charge attacks, by ending the animation early by doing a jump or a dash. But if you have her C1, her charge attacks no longer consume stamina. And what that means is that you can dash cancel, and that's consume stamina on your own. So if her charge attacks are still consuming stamina, you'll run out of stamina real quick, and you won't be able to keep doing that. So you usually have to do it by jumping if you want to use the full extent of her ability. But since jumping takes a lot longer than dashing, your DPS is a lot lower if you do the dash. If you do the dash way, if you don't have her C1, or if you do the jump method whenever. So her C1, even though it just decreases stamina consumption, functionally increases her DPS a lot if you have the technique down, because it just lets her attack a lot faster. And actually, we got 2 more wishes here, so let's try that out real quick. And as you'll see, you don't actually have the appearance of experience as a reward from this tree, because usually you have experience as a reward, because since now I'm at maximum AR, there's no point in experience, it just all gets converted into currency. That is interesting to think about, because I kind of stopped having money problems, quote-unquote, in this game a little while ago. But it definitely will get at least a little better now, that every little bit of experience just gives me a little bit extra money. Yeah. Dude, I'm rolling it. I'm absolutely loaded. I have so much money now. I'm an absolute tycoon. But now that I've done all the roles I could meaningfully do right now, at least because there's nobody on the limited banners who I really want, I'm gonna go do Abyss. And actually, before I do Abyss... No, actually, I'm not doing that right now. Well, I'm not gonna show my hand just yet. It has to do with the team comp that I want to use for... Yeah, I'm rolling for Dia, but she's not up for 3 weeks. She may totally suck, but I also want to get every character eventually, which means I'm going to go for Dia. For what it's worth, relevant weeks have mentioned that she's going to quote-unquote be good eventually, or at least there's going to be a team that makes use of her in some way, shape, or form. So I don't feel too bad about going for her. It's kind of like the same situation with Shinobu and Yae, which that they seem totally gimped on release, and they more or less were. It's just that they were intended for later use, that they had elements of their design and in their kit which prefigured later use. For example, they had Elemental Mastery, which is the stat which scales your reaction power, which didn't make a lot of sense because Electro reactions weren't very good, but then a few months later they came out with very, very strong Electro-Dendro reactions, which suddenly made them a lot better of a proposition, and which is why when Yae came around a second time I rolled for her because she was actually worth having. But I don't think Dia will ever be great, and for what it's worth, Yae is still not great. She's still outclassed by even a C0 official, which is crazy, you know. And to be fair, Yae gets a lot better with Constellations because of her defense shred, her defense ignore. But at the same time, the fact that this chick, this 4-star character who you can very easily get for free multiple times to get all of her upgrades is better than, or very least strongly competitive, does not speak well about her. Still, she's good, and I got her, again, partially just because I'm a collector, and I like having more characters to play around with, but the fact remains is that she did get significantly better. And Dia will apparently get better. I think significantly is a bit strong, but again, people who are quote-unquote in the know have said that there will be a team comp which Dia can support, as they said. Dia may not have a very strong niche, but she'll at least have a purpose. Right now, she doesn't even really have that. And in the end, there is inherent appeal in a character who just plays by vibe checking everything. I thought kind of briefly about leveling up Hazo in order to get to level 60 by killing the usual Hilichurl with just a massive one-punch. But once I realized that I might want to do that, it was a week ago, and I wouldn't have been able to actually build him enough to be able to do that without getting enough experience to level up to AR60 on its own. Yeah, Fallout 4. That's a good idea, but that's the kind of game I'd want to play in the summer. Just because I am still in school right now, and Genshin is not a game that takes an incredible amount of time, but it does take time. The fact that I can even really be playing it at all streaming on weekends is because it doesn't take a huge amount of time. But again, like any game, it does take time. To the extent that Fallout 4 is, you know, objectively a better game, sure, but it's also a game that requires a huge time investment and just would not really be something I could do at the moment. And I hate saying that because I have it for... No, I don't have Fallout 4, but I do have a Fallout game that I could play. I believe I have... Yeah, I have 3. I got 3 for free on Epic. I could play that, but if I liked it, I would get sucked into it enough that I would either be very unhappy when I had to play it unreliably, kind of cut off my involvement for the sake of academics, or my academics would just suffer. Either way, I don't consider each of them a particularly appealing end condition. Yeah, but as you can see right now, the way I'm using Hu Tao is by using her forward charges and then dashing to end the animation early so she can attack faster. And it makes her a really, really good DPS unit, but if you don't have her constellations, it becomes a lot harder to do. Either you have to attack slower or just limit your damage window significantly. No, seriously, it's... Oh, L canceling? Yeah, this is... This is the Smash Brothers of 2023. Complete with the very, very sussy and creepy people in its community. Did you hear that one of the Genshin voice actors, one of the voice actors for the newer characters, it turned out he was a total creep to his fans. That he was trying to use his status as a voice actor to just creep on his fans. And just beyond that, being creepy, it's sort of... Imagine being a Genshin voice actor and being like, yes, I have the clout to manipulate people now. I finally achieved my dream of fame, fortune, and power by voicing a Catboy. And the worst part is that that's not entirely an unreasonable belief. It just shouldn't be. I mean, it just should be. It just should be. If someone can actually say, now that I am a gacha game voice actor, I have the power to win hearts, influence people, and exert control over the world, I think that says a huge amount about just the decline of society. If I were to become some sort of popular streamer, I assure you that I would have nothing but shame, and I think that's a good thing. I would hide from the public and just never tell anyone. I would exist solely for my fans, and even then. Yeah, perfect pure idol, right? The only reason I exist is to stream gacha games for 3 people on Saturdays. Yeah, it's not much, but it's an honest living. For all the $0 I get and 3 viewers, some of whom may be bots, I feel like I've achieved something with my life. Yeah. I was actually trying out Streamlabs earlier on, and for various reasons, I just couldn't get it to work up to satisfaction. Like I mentioned earlier, VC Face, which is the app I use for my avatar, it relies on having transparency in order so you can just put the window in your screen capture and just go ham and have your little anime boy dance around on screen. But for whatever reason, and you can probably get it to work if you fiddle enough with settings, but the fact that there was no instant native support like there was with OBS was just very off-putting. So you just had the gray and white, vaguely, you know, like I said earlier, source missing texture, you know, the black and purple, but instead it's white and gray. And also you can't very easily move layers around. So I was trying to figure out how to get that window to go below everything else so overlays could show up. Because at the very least, I wanted something like a chat overlay so that I could do VODs and stuff. So that when I made a video recording and posted it somewhere, I would be able to show on screen what happened was said in chat. Again, that's just not something that's happening right now this time. For what it's worth, there are definitely ways to do it in OBS, and given my few experiences with Streamlabs at this point, which have been solidly negative. Again, it's probably unfair to say that they've all been negative when their number is not meaningfully large yet. But you understand what I'm trying to say. I'm not particularly inclined to use Streamlabs again anytime soon if I can get OBS to work too, because, again, OBS is a little lighter. It's not going to be as strenuous on my system, though to be fair, it's not like I'm worried about the system bending, breaking, cracking under the weight of streaming Genshin. You understand what I'm trying to say, but if I can get it to work simpler, cheaper, without as much trouble, and I'm pretty sure I could, I don't know why I would use Streamlabs, well, I could just find some chat widget to use for OBS and just work it like that. Especially because so much of Streamlabs is just paywalled. And you know me, I'm shamelessly stingy. If I could choose between paying for something and not paying for something, in almost all cases I would choose not paying. You can quote me on that. Yeah, someone record that and post it to a 2-subscriber YouTube channel. Get me canceled for being some kind of scoundrel, some kind of thief, some kind of bad influence on children in society. I welcome it. It's just another form of clout. Yeah. In the end, antis are just another form of fans. If you care, you care. But if I can get a chat widget to work in OBS, I'll just do OBS. I used OBS before, it worked just fine. I don't see a reason to fix what isn't broken, you know? Oh baby, this is gonna be complicated. I think okay, let's see. And he isn't freezing, is he? Okay, let's see. Oh, what? Okay, either way, let me kill this Abyss Mage first. My life was made a lot harder by the fact that my burst did not recharge. Luckily, one of the things you get from Ganyu's Constellation is that when you hit someone with her charge shot, she recharges a bit of energy, which, as you can see right now, just recharged her super/her burst, whatever you want to call it. So it did end up coming in handy. A few minutes after I complain about her Constellation 1 not being good for much of anything, it becomes good for something. I would say maybe that means I should complain more, but I'm simply built different. Also, are you using Morgana or not? There we go, the big AoE damage. I don't actually use Hu-Tao's burst all that much, and that just tells me that I should use it more. Because I fall into the trap of thinking, okay, you gotta use it at the end of her stance in order to actually make the most of it. But that can mess with your positioning. Yeah. Well, in that case, it does become much different because Ganyu goes from being, a DPS to being a character used for... And there we go, we actually managed to get the Mirror Maiden in there and not get sucked up, which makes things much better and easier. Much better and easier, there we go. But like I was saying, because Ayaka becomes the main on-fielder, which makes the main philosophy of the team much different, because, like I was saying, Ganyu goes from being the main DPS to being a support for another main DPS, which means you just use her differently. I do want to get Ayaka eventually. I'm going to buy her costume, because like I said, I do want to get every character eventually. And frankly, I do think her costume is quite nice. I'm not the horny type, but I do think the fact that she has a hat, so you don't really see her big forehead. I like that. I like that at least a little. Okay, let's see how I can... I guess I'm a little worried about how I might have to go back and try this again. Or maybe this is... Let's be very silly. Actually, let's just go for it and see if I can make it work. Because 411 is still relatively forgiving. I don't want to show my hand and show you the funny I want to try out with my team comp just yet. But I will say that going for a Morgana build against Electro Regis-Vine is probably not going to be too fun and pleasant. But you can almost certainly brute force it with enough effort. We'll see. I'm definitely probably going to go for Shenhe when she comes out, so I can replace Diona on that team with her to crank some extra damage out. We'll see about that. I'm not entirely sure yet. Okay. Let's just wait for these bad boys to group up. Come on. There we go. But, like I was saying... Oh yeah, well, one thing is you don't see Ayaka's forehead as much, and I like that. Because her big forehead is Sasibaka. But... And I just feel dumb now. I don't even know what I was saying. But, essentially, that you can definitely brute force it if you try hard enough. And I was going to replace Diana with Shenhe to get more damage out of that team. It also just looks nice when you have all 5 stars. It is a comically stupid concern to just be like, oh, I want the aesthetics of having an all 5-star team so everyone is golden. But it's part of my thought process. I won't even deny it at this point. But as I was saying, you can squeeze a little more damage out that way. There we go. I didn't actually know that the amount of damage... I actually didn't even know that the Geo Eremites or all the Summoner Eremites would take damage when you killed their summon mob. And I didn't know until I checked the wiki today that damage was actually, it's a solid percent of their current HP. So the more damage they currently have, the more damage they'll take when you destroy their alligator or their bird or whatever. So you have an incentive to... Oh, nice! And he got frozen before he could do anything. That's very pleasant. But like I was saying, you have an incentive to just focus fire the mob so you can do as much free damage to him, you know, quote-unquote free damage to him as possible. And what's interesting is that another detail I learned from the wiki is that, and I didn't even notice it because the only times I'd encountered them before was when they were the second enemy, this part of the second wave of a chamber, so they were just spawning in and I was sort of, okay, I'm in a fight. But they'll always spawn their mob as soon as they show up, which makes it a lot easier just to focus fire their mob and get free damage off that way. Which was really cool and really nice, all things considered. I didn't think they would be so kind, pleasant, and thoughtful. What great people, Mahalia. But, oh, this is interesting. I'm definitely going to have to go for the burst. Oh yeah, that's some good damage right there. That said, she's deprived of that bonus she gets from being at low HP, but what can I say, what can I say, what can I say? And there, at least I don't have to deal with that. Nah, now I can just deal with these dumb mushrooms. But, oh, as I was saying, when you're fighting those Eremite guys, you want to focus on killing the mobs they summon because it deals basically free damage to them at a pretty high percentage of their full HP. Which is pretty cool, all things considered. I found that pretty cool. Let's see. Let's see. And just go for the battery so Yeon can get her burst back in time. Don't want to just get rid of all my energy. But like I was saying earlier, I want to squeeze a little extra damage out. Yeah, as someone who likes to say that he thinks ahead, I have also been... Oh... I've been purposely saving good attack percentage artifacts just so that I can give them to Shenhe later. Because attack circlets and attack goblets are just really not good for anything. The funny thing about it, and I didn't really know this until I actually checked the wiki entry on gauge unit stuff, but Dendro is even better than Cryo at getting rid of frozen stuff. I mean, getting rid of Hydro Auras. And you don't really know because everyone just had it imprinted in their head that, oh, the best way to deal with Hydro enemies is to just freeze them forever. But if you have someone like Nayuta or anyone who can apply Dendro rapidly, I think Alhaithan might be the best now because his Dendro app as an on-fielder, and being an on-fielder as part of that, is really, really good. If she gets killed, I will not be happy. Oh my goodness. But even faster. Oh, nice! Never seen this thing. I guess I need to explore the new area. Flying Serpent. Oh, I didn't even know there was a consecrated Flying Serpent. I just knew there was a red guy, a fire guy, and a electro guy. And the big reason is why is because they actually made the... They made the Electro one show up near the Serpent's Head in Inazuma, which was pretty cool because it makes sense in lore. I find it interesting that they like to add new enemies to old areas so that players can more easily level up weapons and stuff, but they always do it in more accurate ways. Like they added Rift Hounds to Wolvendun because in lore they showed up in Wolvendun before they were even added to the game, which I found to be really cool actually. How they talked about all these weird abyss wolves, and then a while later they actually added them to the game, and they're like, oh, that's what's going on. That's what's going on. I just found that pretty cool as a way to make things work. And then they actually added them. It makes me wonder how far they actually planned in the future. Whether they're sort of like, okay, we'll add these new enemies in 2 years and foreshadow them in this little character quest far earlier. But it was cool how it worked out in the end. But the way those weird sort of bony element creatures work is that they're just normal animals that eat the bones of gods, basically, and become possessed by them and get really powerful. So the Scorpions are the Electra ones, and they're by this big dead god in Inazuma, who is probably associated with Electra. We don't know for sure. So it was cool how they made it work out in a lore perspective. Again, don't want to bootlick the company, don't want to bootlick the quote-unquote small indie company. But they really do care about the game and the lore of their world. As much of a devoted Zelda fan as I am, Nintendo does not care. Yeah, exactly. Small indie company, please understand. Just like Nintendo, guys. Just like Nintendo. But like I was saying, MiHoYo does, for better or worse, actually care about the lore of their world, care about consistency and thematic in various other ways, and I like that. I find it very charming and cool. But as I was saying, Nintendo does not like. It seems to actively dislike that people care about their lore. Given the fact that Age of Calamity, which was the Warriors game, which was kind of a pseudo-sequel to... kind of a pseudo-prequel to Breath of the Wild, was advertised as a prequel and then was very much not a prequel on release. Which, okay, cool. That they made it not a prequel, but what people would call a fix-fic. And again, you know, whatever, I guess. Do what you like. But as I was saying, it feels like they dislike that people care about the lore of the game and the world of their game. It feels like they don't want you to try to engage with it as art or even to really care about it on any significant level. And that might sound like hyperbole, but I mean in the sense of caring about the game world, its lore, its themes, its consistency. And the example is that in Breath of the Wild, you get to go into the library of Hyrule Castle, and they basically try to ditch the Zelda timeline, for better or worse. I don't like that because I'm an annoying old fan who thinks it was cool that 3 Zelda games had their plotline based off of the timeline itself. Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, and Wind Waker are all based explicitly around the time paradox at the end of Ocarina of Time that creates the timeline. And I think that's really cool. I think that's really, 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 really cool. But Nintendo does not. They don't think it's cool. I'm just drinking some water. But you can go to the library of Hyrule Castle in Breath of the Wild, and there are exactly 2 books there. And you know what those books are? Each of them is literally just a recipe for food. There's no lore. There are only 2 books, and they don't tell you anything meaningful about the world. One is maybe kind of a sideways Spirit Tracks reference. No, Dark Souls has lots of lore. Dark Souls has plenty of lore. It's just all in the item descriptions. And like I was saying earlier, like I said before to some people, one thing I like about Genshin is that if they talk about a place, they at least intend on adding it at some point. We're definitely going to go to the island in the sky eventually. Maybe in 4 years, maybe, but we're going to go eventually, unless we die before those 4 years happen, God forbid. And Dark Souls, and a lot of that is just because it's one game. It has a lot of mentioned lore locations that you're just never intended to go to, where characters are just kind of from. But with Breath of the Wild, it's like, oh, they have this cool citadel, you can't go inside, whatever. But the thing about it, though, is that for Dark Souls, they at least put thought into it and try to do it for the sake of fleshing out a world, so that when you ask where are they from, what is sort of their cultural background, you can actually have an answer to that question. I respect that a lot. They really do care about their world building, and they don't get mad at people and think it's dumb that people care. Again, it is objectively hilarious that there are 2 books in the entire library you can read, and both of them are literally just recipes for a pointless in-game side quest. No joke. But yeah, basically what I'm doing right now is that I'm giving some experience stuff to this character in particular, because, and she's not at max level right now, sadly, because I leveled her up, and oh, notably, I also did something very funny. People who understand this game will call me insane because this is objectively crazy. I got her talents to 9992. The ones that are 12 say 12 because they're level 9 and get a +3 level bonus. Well, I just had a lot of spare talent books because I don't have a lot of Inazuma characters to level up. There are 9 characters in the game that I don't have. 2 from Mondstadt, Klee and Eula. I don't have Nilo from Sumeru, and I don't have Shenhe from Liyue. And then I have 5 characters from Inazuma I don't have. I don't have Ayaka, Yoimiya, Kokomi, Ayato, or Ito. The characters I don't have are mostly from Inazuma. In a game with 4 areas, the majority of characters I don't have are from Inazuma. Because when I joined the game, Inazuma was about to come out, and I prioritized rolling for old characters mostly that I didn't have but wanted instead of going for the new ones. But I ended up getting a lot of talent books, so by the time I got her, I could just level her up. When I rolled Yai, I also did that. I got her stuff to 8 without any real effort because I just had a bunch of talent books lying around from Battle Pass and stuff. When I wanted to level up Goro, I actually had to do some farming. And yeah, as you see, I also got Goro to 999 because I'm crazy. But essentially the reason I did that is because I want to try out a Raiden Hypercarry team, which is to say a slightly unconventional team using Raiden Shogun. And the reason why is because they're a bunch of Abyss mages, so I want to use a Anemo character, and the easiest way for me to fit that in, at least in my opinion, is maybe I could have done that with just a Morgana team, but I'm not sure how well that would work versus Kenki, because you can't freeze him. But I wanted to fit in... I wanted to fit in an Anemo, and Kazo worked best for that in my opinion. So I'm actually going to go at this with... Oh, wait. I'm going to go at this with a Quicken team, which means I need to switch my stringless onto official. Yeah, instead of just giving characters weapons, I always just go straight for refines, which means I do have to do a little bit of annoying kind of desk micromanagement when I need specific weapons on specific characters, and sometimes if I want to use multiple characters at once that want the same weapon, I have to make compromises. So, for example, I'll just give Fischl a different bow that she can use well, kind of well, not as good, but kind of well, but Venti can't, so I kind of get the best of both worlds, I guess. But yeah, I'm just going with a team like this. Zhongli, Naida, Fischl, and then Keqing. Yeah, and that's just a nice standard Aggravate and Quicken team with a bit of spread from Naida's Dendro. And now we're going to the fun part, which is Raiden Hypercarry. I actually don't use Kazu much because I don't have an energy recharge focus set on him. So I either need to give him Sac, and Sacrificial is always on Xingqiao. Xingqiao has that pretty much monopolized. I was so happy when I heard that Aggravate was going to make Keqing good. Because Keqing was the first 5-star I got. I'm pretty sure she was the second Gacha character I ever got, because I didn't roll limited until Raiden came out, so I just used the standard fates that I got on the standard banner, and then I got Yanfei, and then I got Keqing. Well, I also got Ningguang, but that was from default banner anyway. Yeah, she got so much better. The best thing that I liked about Aggravate is that I could tell that it was specifically made so that mono Electro teams that people already made would be able to be adapted to it with little effort, trouble, and difference. Because you can keep Electro Aura up even when you have Quicken Dendro Electro reaction going, which means that all characters who want Electro application on an enemy just as an aura with no reaction, they're using Thunder Soother, or they have, for example, Keqing's second constellation, which I don't have, I just have her C1. You get extra energy if you hit enemies with an Electro application on them, and you can keep that going even using a Dendro Electro team. So it doesn't break Keqing, which is really, really nice. I really like that they did that. Also, I have Sapwood on Bennett. I'm thinking about switching his Sands to an ER1 because when I use him in a Raiden National, he doesn't have trouble getting his energy back, but I can't reliably just always have him on Raiden National. But yeah, let's hit it. Let's see if this team works. Let's see how the Sara goes. Let's see what she does. I built her so that her actual burst damage is actually quite good, so we'll see if that goes anywhere. We'll see if that goes anywhere. But there we go, there we go. And there we go. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Oh goodness, oh goodness. There we go, and then, oh, nice. It's a shame that all these characters just show up one by one. It is nice that Knight is reliably getting her burst back, because that doesn't always happen. It's definitely because of the fact that I'm triggering a lot of Electro, and she just gets a whole lot of energy for pretty much free from just the massive particle generation that Kutching has with Thundering Fury. Yeah, oh my goodness. This is absolute torment. We'll see how fast I can get down Chamber 2. I might have to figure this out some other way, which would be suboptimal and I would not enjoy, but, you know, stuff happens, what can you say? And there we go, Ruin Greater, Ruin Greater. More like Ruin Worse, am I right? It's not Greater, it's definitely not Greater. Dude, did you appreciate my awful, terrible, absolutely garbage pun? I hope you did, I hope you did. They're only gonna keep coming. I will only make worse and worse jokes as time goes on. Yeah. Thank you, I'm glad you enjoyed my non-comedy. Dude, I'm so funny, I'm the absolute silliest. Okay, we'll see how this works. The thing that could happen, which would be very funny and silly, is if Ryan just kills everything with her Burst Slash, and that means I have to redo this chamber to not kill everything that fast so I can actually get energy back for the next chamber. I don't think that'll actually happen, but you never know. Okay. What is going on? Oh, not that. That is not pleasant. Okay. Oh, that is not good. I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. Oh, this is less than pleasant. I might end up just going back to trying this with Morgana. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to have to try this with Morgana. That was so close! Yeah, we're just going to switch everything around, give Venny his Stringless back, and hope that everything turns out. Dude, it turns out that I leveled up Sara for absolutely nothing. Because I couldn't even make the Raiden Hypercarry work. Isn't that great, guys? Isn't it amazing? I think a lot of it is also that I'm pretty sure that the Electro Whopper Flower, in addition to just having obnoxious resist, probably just dodged the slash. Again, I hate Whopper Flowers in Abyss. Whopper Flowers suck in Abyss. No, I mean, didn't dodge Sara's burst, I mean dodged Raiden's burst. I think that was the issue. But so long as I can actually suck them this time, as long as I can actually get them sucked up into the burst, I shouldn't have problems. Because they can't really do their whole dive into the ground and just avoid you if they're not in the ground. Also, this should be much better. I should definitely not have as much trouble with the aura now that I can just pyro it down, and I'll be getting overloads too, which is nice. Yeah, I don't know why I really stopped, because the sheer damage potential of my Hu Tao team has always been absolutely busted. Yeah, as long as you can actually do her cancels, her damage is straight up ludicrous. No ifs and buts about it. Especially if you have her C1, which I do. Oh. I didn't even have to aim. Something hit that on its own. I think that is interesting because, yeah, it's definitely my best single target team. No ifs, buts about it. But as I was saying, it is interesting because for Ruin Guard specifically, I'm pretty sure that stunning them only works with fully charged bow charge shots and absolutely nothing else. Which makes it interesting that with a lot of other characters and other configurations, teams, whatever you want to call it, you can pretty easily, for every other Ruin enemy, you can use other characters' abilities to hit their weak points, but for Ruin Guards and Ruin Guards only, it is only ever bow charge shots. But for Graders and all the Ruin Sentinels and the Ruin Drakes, you can do whatever. Which, and you know, there are good reasons for that. But I guess there's a little bit of charm and, you know, you gotta pick a bow! I guess the only thing I would say is maybe I would have preferred a bit of consistency. But again, it's just my tendency to complain about pretty much everything and anything. And there we go! They're all sucked up, and they're all gonna die. Every single one of them is just gonna get vacuumed to death, and I will not have to deal with any kind of annoying BS, I hope. Either way, I at least think I have more. Yeah, at the very least, she can shred pretty easily. It's not bad. And of course, I forget that no sat gets triggered because there is no... Oh my goodness. Yeah, this experience is a little unpleasant, I will say. But at least we can kill them like this. And none of them have any resistances worth talking about, which is nice. Oh baby, this is not ideal. Let's see if I can get this all done in 30. I think I probably can, because all these guys are vulnerable to suck. So as long as I can get my burst up, and then... Yeah, there we go. This should be good. This should be good. The suck, guys. It's the suck. What can I say about Animo other than the suck? I gotta say, there is always appeal in going for weapons, just might make my character stronger. And I was, honestly, in terms of weapons, I wanted to get off of standard. And again, I am kind of a jerk complaining about a 5-star weapon, period. It was sort of like, I would either like Primordial Jadewing Spear because it's still Zhao's best, period. Or I could go for, I don't know, Skyward Heart because that's really good for a Freeze Gunyu. But at the same time, I am kind of happy that I didn't get anything that would be really cracked. Because as copium as this sounds, I actually do appreciate it when Abyss clears are close. When it was down to the wire and you're kind of like, yeah, it was my skill that allowed me to clear in time. It wasn't overpowered weapons, it was the fact that I had good rotations and knew what I was doing. Oh, 2 of these bad boys. The Vulture and the... No, I already saw the Scorpion, though. Yeah, phagocytic. Phagocyte means basically eating cell or cell eater, last I checked. If I learned anything from... Yeah, if I learned anything from middle school biology... Yeah. Either way, it was quite nice to get that down so quick. To get those... And what was I fighting before? You'll get no chill, guys. Either way, I was exceptionally happy to actually get something that I got down. I got stuff down quickly, and I was happy about that. I was happy to see things work out. Okay. Let's see if... Oh, and oh. Yeah, it is what it is. I was wondering if that would disappear, because the thing with Hu Tao is that it's not the easiest to actually just do kind of free pyro on demand. Because you need her stance to really get anything going on. So, the way that enemy works is that there are, in essence... I don't want to say this. It spawns elemental blocks, and if you hit them with a corresponding element, you can stun them, do a big amount of damage, break their res. And for that one, it's pyro, and it has a lot of pyro resist, so I was hoping I could do that, but I missed it because it disappeared because I didn't have Hu Tao's stuff back up in time because I was doing the rest of the rotation. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, actually, this shouldn't be too bad. I won't be able to actually get things really grouped, but... Yeah... This is definitely going to be a chamber I have to come back to. Oh, this... I needed the Raiden for this. Honestly, it should be okay now, because the main thing was just Raiden Hypercarry was not clearing that first chamber second half, at least not in time. But now that that chamber is done, I can just use them for triple Kanki. And I'm pretty sure they will absolutely obliterate triple Kanki. I think that's pretty fair to say. But who do I need to... No, I'm still using... I'm not switching anything around. I don't need to actually switch anything around now. I was wondering if I needed to put Stringless back on anyone, but I'm not going back to Quicken, so it doesn't make a difference. I will say, though, even though it's only because of one constellation I didn't even really intend to get, and not even any 5-star weapons, Yeah, I don't even use any of my 5-star weapons for anything, really. I'm sorry, not right now. But even though I don't use my 5-star weapons on them, and again, they are limited 5 stars, even though I don't really have incredibly crazy team comps, I guess, at least nothing just whale tier, I suppose. The degree to which Double Hydra Hu Tao outclasses pretty much everything else I can field does feel a little bit bad, because I was sort of, now that they have this ley line disorder, it's a perfect chance for me to just use a Quicken team instead and try that out. And it was perfectly capable. And the Res Shred helped. It definitely helped a lot. But at the same time, it's still, even with the benefit of the ley line of the Abyss Blessing, which, mind you, is doing absolutely nothing for either of my teams right now, this team is still better. And, again, we'll be able to complain about, okay, we're retrying that. That was not fun. Yeah. Say I in chat if you have ever ended up accidentally climbing a Zhongli pillar and losing time. Truly. This says a lot about society, doesn't it? When I'm dictator, I'm going to make Zhongli Pillar unclimbable in Abyss. If MiHoYo wants to keep doing business in the United States, they got to change that. I don't care. I don't care who I have to ask. On a slightly funnier note, one of the Duolingo phrases that has shown up to me is, "We are not living in a society." Yeah, not to get all political, but I think the real problem is that we don't live in a society. This is not even a joke. Yeah, just, do you enjoy the unsolicited political opinions of a very scuffed VTuber? I would. But, it is really the Duolingo conspiracy. That's what they aren't telling you. But as I was saying, oh baby. Yeah, as you can see right there, no one is using any kind of bow attacks, and regardless of that Ruin Grader's weak points, you're still getting very, very easily triggered. Something I was thinking about earlier that I wanted to talk about today is a measured argument in favor of live service games as a style of game, just kind of Genshin style, kind of subscription-ish. You pay and you pay for content over time, and sometimes they money grub you or whatever, that kind of thing. Because I was thinking about why, for better or worse, Breath of the Wild is nothing like earlier Zelda games, and I thought about it, and I realized that a big reason is there's not really a real incentive for Nintendo to appeal to devoted Zelda fans who already like Zelda games and will pretty much be guaranteed to be buying the games to begin with, because everyone is paying $60 for the game. I guess maybe you could say, oh, but what if they want to buy the DLC or whatever? Either way, oh, that's unpleasant. That is unpleasant. I shouldn't have done that. I'm actually going to have to restart because I won't have energy for my burst at the start of the Kanki Chamber. I did too good. I actually managed to kill that Hydro Whopper Flower without any real trouble. And the result was just basically one-slashing all of those Eremites and not having enough energy for the next floor. And that means I need to... And again, it's not like it's too hard to just put all these characters back into their team slots, but... You know me, I'm always complaining. I will always find something to complain about. But like I was saying, even if Nintendo was to alienate every single one of its old fans by switching to an open world format, and to be fair, it only and completely alienated me. It got me to try Genshin, which I might argue is more of a Zelda game than Breath of the Wild is if you get me riled up enough. But as I was saying, everyone pays $60 for the game. Maybe more devoted fans might buy the DLC and casuals might not, but either way, there isn't really any kind of meaningful benefit to making your very devoted fans, the people who already like the game specifically for what the game is already doing, more happy at the potential expense of people who don't like what the game is doing and might buy it if you changed it up. Because everyone is paying $60, and Zelda is not a merch-focused series. Merch can make things a little different. But if you get a new audience that is bigger than your old one, even if you lose the entire old audience, you have made a good business decision. With Genshin, or any other kind of live service game, one of the best ways to get more money is to just keep making the people who already like your game happy. Which means that for better or worse, I can pretty reliably say, yeah, Genshin will keep making gameplay that I like. If I already like Genshin, I'll probably continue liking Genshin in the future. Because the best way for them to make money is usually to keep making people who already like their game happy. So, again, for better or for worse, it really is kind of subjective. I don't have to worry about Genshin randomly changing all of a sudden for the sake of getting a new audience, because if I keep paying for the game I like, my wallet vote counts for about as much. So, again, subjective, but it's something I like. Yeah, I do. And I hate the fact that it's literally getting me to defend Gacha, but I really do feel like Gacha, or at least live service as a game model, meaningfully incentivizes companies... Yeah, exactly. It incentivizes companies to keep making their customers happy. It incentivizes them to make the people who already like their game happy, which is not the case with a standard model. Yeah, that said, I think, as perverse as this sounds and is, I think Gacha is kind of the closest way you can get to a kind of pay-what-you-want model sustainably. Because otherwise you can have stuff that's sort of like, subscription passes, but theirs are typically a lot more discreet, as in DSCRETE and what you're getting. Again, for better or for worse. Make your own decision. But either way, it's sort of, okay, you have your one plan, you can do what you like with that plan, but it's that one plan. With something like a Gacha game, it's a lot easier to individually decide how much money you want to put into it. Again, literally Genshin Impact, Mihoyo, Battered Life, defending literal Gacha content as a gameplay style. Yeah, kill me, call me cringe, whatever. But as someone who, and I think getting burned is definitely a bit strong, who was a little disappointed by the degree to which Genshin lost sight of its old Zelda lost sight of its old customer base, and the fact that it was a legitimately good business decision for them to do this. I guess I just kind of want to figure out what would be a good way of doing things to make it so that companies can actually prioritize making their current customers happy and make money doing it. Oh, it's so hard. Yeah, that's the thing, is that I have to find a way to kill all those enemies without using Raiden's Burst. And Raiden's Burst is really the only thing I have that meaningfully dealt damage. It's such a fundamentally perverse way of doing this. I'm trying to not kill them too fast, because if I kill them too fast, I won't be able to kill other things fast. It's so silly. That said, I won't lie. It is a heck of a lot of fun to have Raiden do just absolute crazy damage, just cutting them up by herself and nothing else really going on. That's smart. That's really smart. Thank you for being such a good Twitch viewer, Tenacious Blaze. I'm not even mad about backseating. That is an incredibly helpful. But yeah. Like I was saying, there's What was I saying? It is really fun, just Raiden hypercarry as a concept, because there aren't a lot of hypercarries in the game. You have Wanderer, Zhao, arguably Ito, maybe Noelle on an OLGO team, though even that's really strong because her healing is really good. But just the fact that, oh, you're doing this team and all the damage just being dealt by Raiden and her crazy amount of buffs. That everything is just pumping out extra electro damage for Raiden. No reactions whatsoever, just Raiden going absolutely ham. And I say this as someone who thinks Raiden as a character is very, very flawed. Story spoilers for people who care. But they changed... Well, I think change is a bit strong because they probably had it planned to be this way originally. But they made it so that there's no real malfeasance going on by the Inazuman government, by the Shogun in Scaramouche's backstory, because the whole deal is basically that out of paranoia or fear or whatever, the Inazuman government basically just had someone who was trying to protect Scaramouche, little baby Scaramouche, killed, because Scaramouche was basically, you know, kind of like a scary little thing. You know, you gotta make sure scary little things get cooped up. And he got killed for his disobedience in Yak, even though it was, you know, morally in a sense, you know, he's a little baby. He might be a baby with a potential for evil, you know, but like, I'll remind you, Fate, you gotta judge him on his actions instead of just killing him and going sicko mode. But they changed it so that it wasn't really the Inazuman government being just really draconian and mean and sussy. It was just, oh, Dotoria the Fatui was just being mean for the sake of being mean. Isn't that guy so silly? And just, it didn't really sit right with me because it felt exculpatory in a way that was uninteresting. It was just sort of, oh no, not again. Oh my goodness. This is not, because cursed with success. Cursed with success. But like I was saying, it was really cool for them to be kind of like, okay, cool, what's going on is the Inazuman government was too draconian in strength, and they basically turned Scaramouche into a villain by assuming he was a villain and acting accordingly. They basically minority reported him. They were like, okay, you're bad. We will treat you like you were bad. Oh, wait, you turned bad according to our expectations? This doesn't prove anything about the proper way to act towards people. It just means we were right and you were always evil. And it's just a fundamentally cool kind of story as someone who is, you know, interested in sort of justice as a concept, how you behave towards people, I guess. You know, someone who's concerned about the big questions in life. But like I was saying, he just turned it into a less morally gray narrative for the purpose of, as far as I can tell, making Dotor, you know, more of a bad boy and just taking any guilt away from Inazuma so that you can never be like, oh, Raiden did a bad thing. She's just such a cute uwu waifu, but she's also mommy somehow. Don't ask. But it just felt cheap. And to be fair, it's an informed attribute because I haven't gotten around to Inazuma Part 3. Well, Inazuma Part 5, I mean. I haven't gotten around to more Inazuma story, so it's just based on what I heard. But it just, again, it doesn't sit right with me because of how much the devs have gone out of their way to just prevent you from really placing any blame on Inazuma, the shogunate as a whole, for bad things that happen in association. I would have liked it a lot better, especially because it's just one dude who was not particularly portrayed as sympathetic to begin with. They could have easily said something like, oh, and then the shogun punished him for being an evil person. And still, you have moral complexity. You know, early on in Inazuma's story, there was some ambiguity over the whole Watatsumi rebelling over the Vision Hunt routine, because when you go to Yashiori Island, The guy, the Sango Nomiya guy guarding the tower, guarding the entrance, talks about unjust Narukami taxation. No joke. I don't know if they changed that dialogue because I never went back and checked, but I'm pretty sure. Actually, I don't think they changed it for reasons. Because when I went back, I'd already beaten that story or whatever. But it was interesting to think about, it's not entirely about the Vision Hunt decree. It's at least partially because of real issues that the citizens of this fictional world had with the government of one of the fictional countries. That's pretty cool. But then they kind of ignored that again, kind of to make Raiden more of an Ulu waifu in a dumb, stupid way. It's just, again, it left kind of a bad taste in my mouth. Oh my goodness. That was unpleasant. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness. The hitbox on the Electro Abyss Mage ring is just so scuffed. I never know where I am with that thing. But as you can see, Raiden Hypercarry is an absolutely just all-or-nothing team. You either kill everything really fast or you die really fast, because your only healer is Bennett, who, again, does not heal you up to full. And you don't have a shielder, which means, okay, either you die, they die. Either way, it's happening really fast, like I said. Again, a lot of appeal and risk and reward. Before I had Zhongli, or any kind of really good team for that matter, I tried playing Abyss with child national teams and child international teams. Well, no, child national, because I didn't have Kazuo, that's right. But child national teams, which, again, their only healer is Bennett. It's very high risk or reward, no shielder, but you do a lot of damage if you do it right. And again, there's a lot of appeal in that kind of thing, which is why there are a lot of people who will say, oh, Zhongli is a damage loss, don't use Zhongli, because you're shielding instead of attacking. And to be frank, it ignores the fact that dodging is also a damage loss, and frankly, it's much more of a damage loss than running Zhongli, because Zhongli also gives you a lot of benefit with the res shred from a shield, but that's kind of neither here nor there. But either way, there is the player philosophy behind that is messed up, in that it ignores the utility of even shielding for actual DPS. But at the same time, you do deal more damage with just a pure DPS only team. It's also just not that much more, all things considered, because people, again, forget that if you're dodging, if you're not somehow just managing to perfectly place yourself out of reach of enemies, you're going to be dealing a lot less damage, either by dodging or just taking damage and getting staggered. That said, the nice thing about Raiden in particular is that she has the ability to ignore a lot of the issues with not having a shielder due to the fact that she has infinite poise, which is a term that should be familiar to Dark Souls fans, during the duration of her burst, which means you don't have to worry about getting knocked around. Sure, you have to worry about, just damage stuff, but you don't really have to worry about... You don't have to worry about losing damage because you got knocked out of an animation. And again, it's not perfect, and you do still have to deal with... What was it? You have to deal with... Okay, this should work. I should at least be able to actually go for the full duration of her burst this time and get most of... Yeah, there we go. That'll work. That'll work. Finally, we have it! We actually did it! Dude! I feel like such a king. It only... Yeah, first try. I'm literally Lego Batman from the Lego movie, guys. But... What was I saying? Like I was saying... It isn't just a very easy decision. It's not the kind of very easy, simple decision that people would often make it out to be, to just go full DPS over Zhongli. And again, it's not the easy decision most people honestly make it out to be, to just go shielder over full DPS, because again, you get a lot of benefit from actually running a team that focuses on not dying, because oftentimes you will end up dying if you do not have defense or healing. but it's not an instantly guaranteed decision one way or the other what you do, because it's about trade-offs. Like with a lot of things. There are benefits and drawbacks to each. And again, I'm a decent dodger, but I'm not amazing, and for what it's worth, Genshin is not Dark Souls. It does not really intend you to be able to dodge every single attack, especially in the case of, for example, what was it? Oh, in particular, what I'm thinking about is... Actually, as it turns out, I didn't even know you could do that. I didn't know you could do that. But like I was saying... Oh, that was... I did not expect that. But yeah, you can make it work with other elements, which I didn't know. I thought you had to use that element. Yeah, it's easier if you do, but that's pleasant to know. But like I was saying, it's about trade-offs. And enemies like Geobishops and Promo Geobishops have attacks that are almost... not entirely impossible to dodge, but purposely very difficult to dodge to incentivize you to actually use... There we go! There we go. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. But he is not in there. He is annoying. He is very bad. He is a bad boy. But, like I was saying, there's a lot of enemies that actually want you to just dodge instead of... No, shield instead of dodge for various reasons, and, you know, there are enemies that want you to dodge instead of shield because we got that very funny enemy called a Shadowy Husk that very much wants you to dodge instead. Okay, but you might not know this, actually, and for all of you Dark Souls fans out there, you might find this very interesting. As it turns out, the name for... Okay, I was not expecting him to be Sussy Baka like this. Oh no! Okay, but at least the damage was good. The issue was that I just... What I'm going to do next time is I'm going to run all the way to the right so that they all chase me a little there, so I can just hit them all with the attacks, and I'll be able to hit them all at once and actually kill them instead of killing all of them but one and dying to that last one because I didn't want to pop my burst and kill it and not get my energy back. Okay, there we go. I've raged enough. But like I was saying, Promo Geobishop and Geobishops have attacks that are almost impossible to actually dodge. In fact, Promo Geobishop and his daughter too have attacks that can't be iframe through. You have to shield them or just eat the damage, and then Shadowy Husk hurt you more if you use a shield. But either way, I actually like that a lot because it means that you want to actually play the game in different ways instead of just using one team for everything. Because if I use this team versus Shadowy Husk, and I've tried to use this team versus Shadowy Husk, and understandably got absolutely slammed, but if you use them like that, you will get punished, and rightfully so. And I guess there is a little bit of perversion there, because not everyone has the resources, the time, or the money to make multiple teams to use against different kinds of content, and I did not hit him enough. I don't want to have to do another rotation for that. That is an unacceptable time loss. Yeah. Yeah, that was actually the first time I fought Triple Kanki. I never really did Abyss until after they stopped using Triple Kanki. Well, actually, back when they did Legend of Vagabond Sword with some of the people in this chat, they had Triple Kanki as part of that. Well, they had Double Kanki with optional Triple Kanki, and I never did Triple, but I did do the optional Double, let it be known. And I was carried. But, like I was saying, I had never fought Triple Kanki in Abyss, and I just heard lots of things, mostly good, some bad, almost entirely good. Oh yeah. It's a lot of incoming damage, but your damage potential is also crazy too. Just because you have 3 possible targets in a boss encounter, which is a lot more than you typically get for a boss level encounter. But either way, I had heard lots of people being like, oh, Triple Kanki is so cool. It's a shame they don't put it anymore. So I was really happy to have them actually put Trample Kanki in this time around, because, like I said, I had hurt a lot and just never actually had a chance to experience the magic for myself. Okay. Okay, okay. Oh, baby! Let's get him. Let's get him. Let's... Oh, there we go! There we go! We did it! We did it! We did it! Okay. We finally managed to get him hit with his own thing, with the Hu-Ta specifically. I feel like a winner today. I feel like a real winner today. Okay, there we go. And we get the healing back. We get the healing back with the Hu-Ta burst. This is honestly the first time I can remember when I've actually had to use Hu-Ta's burst specifically for healing. It is interesting for sure. What? Oh, now I feel stupid. Okay, there we go. Okay. Honestly, I feel like I should focus on Galloping Frost, just because he's an absolute jerk. Yeah, I think that's probably the best idea, because Lone Gale is not crazy, but he's... Oh my goodness! Oh! You're so right. You're so right for this one. I might have to... I'm gonna have to go for the max HP, just so they don't die. You know, it is interesting, because I didn't really think too much about that, because a lot of my characters are percentile. But the fact that I'm actually running into trouble where I'm just dying... Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to focus Fire Frost. Wait, what? That... I pressed the wrong number button. Oh, I feel dumb. But like I was saying, the Frost one... Maybe if I go left, it'll chase me, because the issue was that it overshot when I tried to go to the right to hit it. I think that might be the move. I think that's probably the move. Yeah, but like I was saying earlier, I gotta figure out how to do chat integration so it shows up in VODs for OBS, because I want to use OBS for a lot of reasons, but until I can figure out how to make chat actually show up, I'm either gonna have to just acquiesce to the evil god known as Streamlabs, or just not have chat at all. Because I've had 3 streams where I've wanted to kind of actually, you know, do things, but kind of been canned out of the way by just not being able to get Streamlabs to work and OBS not having that native functionality. And again, OBS is really good. I like it a lot, but it doesn't have a lot of native widgets other than just basic kind of Twitch ones, which means that it can be kind of hard to just, like I said, do stuff like get chat integrated. You have to know where to look, or God forbid, program yourself. But as I was saying, there's a lot going on. Let's see what this bad boy is doing. Let's see what he's doing. I don't know why he didn't use the spin this time around. I think it might be because he has less aggro on him, because I was hitting him less, and also... What specifically? There we go, and he just died from that. But like I was saying, I went for him first last time, even though I wasn't doing much damage, and that got him to use his element shard attack earlier, so I think that might be the move. Again, we'll see. Oh wow, they hit him in the air. That is unpleasant. Okay, that'll hit him. Oh, I don't even know what's going on there, but I don't even know why. But he did not get his burst back. Oh. Okay. Hopefully this manages to make him not do his thing. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I think I managed to just iframe through that. That was very satisfying. That was incredibly satisfying. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, unpleasant. You know, that was funny. I kind of wish I hadn't just killed him just now, because he just straight up was not getting hits. We're gonna have to retry this chamber. But at least I know that what I did wrong was go for the Scorpion instead of the Vulture. That said, maybe I'll just go back to the EM buff, because as small as it was, it did change how much damage I was doing. Someone said something very funny, which is that the one advantage of Dia being absolute garbage is that they'll have to make Abyss really easy to allow people to actually use her. Because otherwise there'd be no reason to roll for her, because they make blessings to advertise the new characters, and if Dia sucks, there's no point. Because they did nerf Abyss. It was leaked that they nerfed Abyss, and people said it's specifically because Dia literally can't do crap. Because they had two of the new cryo enemies, and it just wasn't doing anything for her because she didn't have fast enough app to actually break both. Which is very funny. It's very funny. But as I was saying, I managed to get it to work in a way, I suppose. Because the goal was, of course, to advertise the new character, and that means making an Abyss that works with the new character. Let's see if he actually goes up. Oh, nice, he is doing it. Wait. Oh, my goodness. Okay, there we go. Not perfect, but at least it worked. Hopefully I can, with the additional EM and maybe the wherewithal to just not die, I can... Oh, that... Yeah. I didn't know how long the Res Shred lasted, because I had heard that you got Res Shred from using that counterattack, but I didn't know how much. Okay, let's see how this works out. Okay, hopefully... What? What? That is absurd. No, it seriously makes me ask, what would actually be the best way to go around it? I think maybe the best way would be with some other AoE-focused team that is not that team and has some kind of protection. But I can't exactly think of what it would be at the moment, because maybe I could try using the Hu Tao team for it, but I don't know what I would use for the other half of the chamber, though. That's the issue. Is that as of now, this is very easily my best option for this right here. And we'll try that one again. I would like advice. I would definitely like it. I would appreciate your backseating, Mr. Tenacious _ Blaze. Let's see. As someone who has been playing this game much longer than me, you have, more than anyone, a claim to know better. But, oh. Let's see. Oh, you know, that would make sense. That would make a lot of sense. Thank you. That said, if I did that, I'm not sure I'd even be able to get it down in time. That's the issue. Yeah. That was something I was kind of thinking. I was sort of like, should I be using Bennett's Burst as a heal specifically? Because I wasn't. And I was wondering if it was a good idea or a bad idea. But, you know, you can't rotate when you're dead. You can't use your burst or your skill when you're dead. That is an important consideration. Yeah, literally a skill issue. That's fair. Yeah, average Final Fantasy 14 player. Yeah. I think the big one is just that there are 3 dudes coming, and I'm not exactly sure when they're doing their frame stuff. This might be a little better, I think. Maybe. Let's see. What on earth? I don't even know what was going on. The main thing with that is just that Sara's energy recharge is right basically at the mark where she has to use. And honestly, maybe it means I should have just... Yeah, maybe I should have just given her an energy recharge stance, but I gave her an attack stance, because if Raiden hits all her burst hits, Sara can get her burst back just gets her burst back. Just barely gets it back by using her aim. And for what it's worth, a big reason I wanted to do that is because she's C6, and therefore she can technically benefit from her own ability. And I wanted to be able to use that extra bit of damage, even if it isn't technically optimal. But yeah, it's exactly it, optimality. But in the end, it's a matter of getting your burst back and having your damage windows actually intact. More than other conditions, really. And that it's easy to make the perfect of the enemy the good, and Genshin rotations, suffice it to say. Also, I think it's probably actually a time loss to use Zhongli's burst, because it keeps them out of using their whole funny, silly energy charge thing. It delays their use, when that's honestly a big part of the damage that's being done. So if I do it like that, I'll go slower probably. Because yeah, you see, this gets it back a little faster this way. See? There we go. And he's down a little faster because I didn't use the Zhongli burst. Probably because I didn't use the Zhongli burst. Yeah, I'm going to go for it just using Sara's iframes and nothing else. And see if I can get my burst back at all. And if so, that'll be a better way to do it. Yeah, there we go. I definitely have a bit more time to spare now. Just go for the C2E, snapshot her own buff. The main thing is just that I want the extra damage because since Sara's benefiting from Bennett's burst, at least for her own personal burst damage. So I wanted to actually get some actual damage off of that burst. And again, probably kind of a stupid idea, all things considered, but actually I can get it this time. What? Oh my goodness. It wasn't even the Sara problem that time, it was just Raiden being too close. Yeah. But oh my goodness, Galloping Frost is by far the biggest problem here. Nothing else is as much of a problem. Mask of Terror is gimpy and lame. Oh, that was dumb. That was so dumb. Me too. Okay, the question is, who would you kill for a Sara buff? Who would you kill for a Sara buff? That's the real question. To be fair, she isn't really bad to use if you just use her E and don't aim it. And just use the mini Crow Feather to buff her and then just unleash her burst and switch out. It's kind of like Farzan, actually, where you'll just unleash your thing for a fab hit and then just chill. It isn't exactly the same, but it does make her more streamlined if you have the right cons and the right energy recharge. Yeah, it's just how it is. Life is like that sometimes. My life be like, ooh ah ooh. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. Let's see. Oh, there we go. He's doing it. He's doing it. He's doing the funny thing. Die, 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 die. Okay, go for it. Go for it. Use the funny one. Go up and fly. Be silly and funny. Okay, there we go. Oh, nice. Okay, I wonder if Xingqiao will get enough energy back there. I forget how those particles spawn. But okay, we will be funny. We will not go for the Sara aim this time around. I don't care. I don't care what happens. No Sara. What? Yeah, as soon as I say I'm changing the way I do things, I end up getting slammed in an entirely different way. What does this say about me? What does this say about me and my luck? What does this say about me and my skill? But, yeah, in terms of topics I had for discussion, the Zelda stuff and the live service stuff, which was kind of connected, was the biggest one on my mind right now. Oh, is there anything else that immediately comes to mind as a topic you might enjoy hearing about? If you don't say anything in particular, I'll just start talking about Kirby lore. I said I would start talking about Kirby lore unless I got specific suggestions. If you're fine with the Kirby lore, I have no problem with that. In fact, I would probably prefer it. But be aware of what you're buying. Oh, my education? Well, it's alright. I'm a triple major. I am... Oh. Economics. What? How did that happen? We went for the early shard release, and then Hu Tao died. Did I just not get my shield back up, or was it broken? I don't know what was happening. But, I'm economics, political science, and theology triple. It's something. Understandably, I have a lot of work, so I don't get a lot of sleep, though most of that is just me being bad at scheduling. But, as I was saying, I like it. I like what I do. I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it. But it is kind of a bad idea for me to have made my semester this onerous and busy when I'm supposed to be working for a job. Yeah, no sleep. Yeah, I should ask an engineer about that one. Oh, wow. She literally was just taking too much damage. Should have gone for the burst. But, like I was saying, it does make things pretty difficult. For what it's worth, none of the majors are too huge on their own. A lot of people are more impressed than they actually should be, because where I am, the STEM majors have a lot more individual requirements, both for the major specific and just the STEM programs in general. So it's a lot harder to major in anything along with it. If you're an engineer, you will be an engineer and nothing else. But if you do basically humanities majors, you can very easily mix and match because there's a lot of overlap in their requirements. Which, you know, different strokes for different folks, and for what it's worth, that kind of... I would say that you can get a lot farther with kind of crazy levels of specification in a STEM major anyway. If I want to get a job, in the end, nothing I'm really studying right now is probably going to be useful for a job in the long run, as much as I hate to say it. So, it's probably kind of good that I'm doing a lot of things. But, again, we'll see. That said, I can't imagine that any of them in particular are going to be particularly useful. We'll see. What was I saying? Yeah, they're all a lot of fun. The theology program here in particular is really, really good. Oh my goodness. So, I definitely feel like I have learned a lot, which is kind of funny to say, you know, just basically studying a class where you study religion. But it's interesting to evaluate, in particular, the Catholic tradition as it develops over time and encounters other religions in their various contexts. Keep this off the record, but nothing has decreased my respect for Protestants more than actually reading Martin Luther. I wondered why even people who were Protestant sympathetic didn't really encourage reading Martin Luther specifically. And there are a lot of reasons, and I would say many of them are, one, he's not a very good writer. Number two, he's just not very smart in general. Just in terms of his arguments, they're not particularly good. Because this whole argument against Catholicism is supposed to be a biblical one, but it's a very cherry-picked biblical one. He basically goes into the letters of Paul and uses them as most of the hay for his argument, but it's a very selective reading of Paul. He only uses a couple of epistles, a couple of Paul's letters, and a lot of them, because Luther made his own translation of the Bible. And the books he didn't like, which included the Book of James and some of the Pauline epistles, he just put it in the back and was kind of like, we deprecate these. Because so a lot of people know that there are the Apocrypha, which are books of the Bible, which Catholics believe are true, but or accurate, or sacred, or inspired, or however you want to call it. But Jews and Protestants largely do not. For what it's worth, there are a number of books which Catholics do not affirm that other denominations do, but it's almost always them affirming even more books than the Catholics do, and having all the ones that the Catholics have that the Jews and Protestants don't already. So it's just a matter of increased quantity, not really a particular difference. So it's interesting to see, and again, they don't really talk about this because it makes Luther look bad, but Luther is picking and choosing what the New Testament consists of, not just interpreting it differently. And beyond that, he really hates the Jews. Luther is a crazy anti-Semite, and part of that is the context of the time, but a lot of it is something he puts out as essentially a part of his argument. He's sort of like, because of the way I interpret Christianity, this means that pretty much evil is Judaism. He's just very anti-Semitic. And some people will talk about Luther's anti-Semitism, but they'll talk about it as an accident instead of sort of an essential part of his philosophy or his interpretation of Christianity. And I'd say it is a pretty important aspect because it's how he justifies a lot of his interpretation of religion, in particular sola fide, which is basically the idea that you don't need works to basically get to heaven, you just need faith, which is very vague without works. And the reason he got rid of the Book of James is because the Book of James specifically says faith without works is dead. That if you say, I believe, and you don't change the way you live your life to reflect that belief, you can't really say you believe. And he doesn't like that, so he takes it out of the New Testament, despite saying, it's all about Scripture. We don't have the human politics of the Catholic Church. It's just all Scripture. And then for reasons of more or less human politics, he takes things out of Scripture. Thank you. I like to talk a lot. I would like to think that someone who is at least thinking about being a streamer should be able to talk with some degree of competence and proficiency. But hey, you never know. But okay. Hopefully this should allow me to iframe and just kill this stupid Blue Magu Kenki. I hate this guy so much, you have no idea. Okay. But okay. Okay. I am going to make you suffer. I'm going to make your life absolute torment. I'm going to make you wish... Oh, okay. Maybe I should have been less mean. I think that was punishment. But actually, maybe this is what I'll do. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll pick the one-chamber buff that was staring me in the eye the entire time that basically says, don't die. Now I feel like a real idiot. But yeah, and a lot of the accusations he makes of the Catholic Church is that he says that its emphasis on works makes it kind of Judaizing, which refers to a number of tendencies, in particular the idea of Judaizing is it's basically there's a conception in Luther, well in Paul and it's a somewhat controversial one, which is the idea of Judaism as a quote-unquote works righteousness religion, which is the idea that you satisfy God or get to heaven or whatever kind of reward you're looking for by the goodness of your actions, by following the law, basically. And it's interesting because not only is this not entirely perfect, because Judaism does talk about faith. It's just like Catholicism. It says that, in its own terms, really, it says that faith without works is dead. That if you're going to claim to, follow God, you would better be prepared to actually walk the walk, not just talk the talk. But in essence, like I was saying, and that's seen as sort of the Judaizing tendency, this connection which is arguably more biblical. That's smart. That's very smart. Thank you. And in the end, only bursting every other rotation is probably a good idea in the long run, because it would let me focus on energy rather than healing and stuff. That said, the size of this defense buff is probably going to be a real help, so I'll just look at it real quick. But as I was saying, this idea of works righteousness, Judaism's works righteousness, comes from some readings of Paul, which I might argue is misreadings, or at least in the sense that it's a misreading of Catholic doctrine and Christianity in general to say that just kind of works righteousness is as a whole necessarily a bad thing. Because again, the sort of faith without works is dead. You need to live your life in a way that reflects the fact that you apparently care. How did she... What? Oh my goodness. But, like I was saying earlier, the whole deal with that, it implies that essentially it's a works righteousness religion and caring about works is bad. And therefore, Luther stakes a lot of his critique of the Catholic Church on a misreading of Paul, which requires him to be anti-Semitic, not just in general, but also anti-Semitic in the reasons he dislikes the Catholic Church. And it is important to say that it's not as if the Catholic Church was not anti-Semitic at the time. It was just as, if not more so in practice. But it's important to understand the philosophical underpinnings of those, in the sense that I would say that... Fair. That's also just like Wizard of Legend, which is a game that I have and need to play. But like I was saying earlier, I would argue that Lutheranism, or at least till people kind of self-corrected, was philosophically anti-Semitic by necessity, which is a lot different than just being correctably bigoted in practice. Because it's sort of, okay, this can be fixable. On the other hand, it's sort of, okay, you can try to fix this, but you will always be fighting against the inherent intended tendency of the philosophy you affirm. That it was intended to be this way, and to try to make it some other way is going to be like trying to ski uphill. And again, that's a bit of a strong proposition to make, but frankly, it is one I would affirm. Yeah, to quote, I forget where this is even from. Yeah, some people always trying to ski uphill. Is that from Blade? I think that's from Blade. Okay, let's see. Hopefully I can... Yeah, these consecrated beasts are actually really cool. When I heard about them, I expected them to just kind of be trash mobs. And when they started actually putting up a fight, because the only one I ever actually really fought, just because it was actually just in a very convenient place in the middle of Yashiori, was the Scorpion by Serpent's Head, like I mentioned earlier. And that one's nice. That one's really sweet. But it was a lot more durable than I expected it to be. I expected it to just die easy like a trash mob. They're bulkier than the Eremites. They're bulkier than the equivalent Eremites. And I was not expecting them. Well, actually, they're about as bulky. It's just that they have a lot of resistance unless you do their elemental song and dance. But yeah. They were about as bulky as a Mirror Maiden when you got rid of the resistance. But the fact that they're bulky as an already bulky enemy and then have... Come on, and then have resistance does tell you something. That does bother me that Kazu's jump does not go high enough to just dodge that. Have you done the Current Abyss? Have you done the Current Abyss yet? And if so, did you get all the stars? Because I don't need to beat people, I just need to be as good as them. Oh, nice. What teams did you use for each side? Yeah. But it really is a very difficult it is. Yeah, at the very least, I'm happy that I'm just getting my Huta stuff. Oh, that was really close. I'm making Huta work here. But at the same time, it's a little less than pleasant to have to deal with, you know, all this. Let's see if I can't get her burst back and just use that for a nice sweet heal. Oh! Oh! You know, that would be smart. I could probably make it work better with Raiden National. I don't even know why I didn't use Raiden National for this. I feel stupid now. Time to leave. Yeah. Well, not Raiden National. Actually, I could just use Raiden National now. I could and I should just use Raiden National now. And I feel really stupid not using Raiden National. Because the only reason I bothered going for the Animo was because of this chamber. And now that I have that with all the stars, I don't need to worry. I don't need to worry about how much I got. Okay, cool. Let's just try that one again. Let's forget all about that. But that said, that does mean I'll need to go for... Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, going for the freeze versus a boss, you're gonna be in hot water. Because the water is not going to become cold when it freezes. You see what I'm trying to say here? Thank you. Okay. I will say though, I found out recently that Yelan... No. I found out recently that Xingqiao can't actually snapshot a Bennett buff, which is part of why you want to use Yelan for the Raiden National, because that lets you put Yelan first, and that lets Raiden actually get the tail end of Yelan's damage buff. Yeah, the Albedo is coming back out, guys. The Albedo is coming back out. Yeah, he's thankful for the crit rate buff, because his crit is absolute dog water. Yeah, I couldn't get a crit husk, a crit rate husk. I had to give him a crit damage one, and let me tell you, it did not work well. Well, his crit ratio is very skewed. Let's see what's happening. Let's make this happen. Yeah. I will say, I probably should be using Albedo's Burst when it's available. It's just a lot harder to justify when it doesn't do a lot of damage, and especially when Hu Tao already has Dragon's Bane, because it means that the value of the EM buff is a lot more deprecated. But at the same time, it does help space out the rotations, because otherwise there's downtime that I have to kind of occupy with Xingqiao during the recharge of his E-skill. So again, it's not perfect. And how did... That was unexpected. That was not pleasant. What a bad little guy. I'm gonna destroy you. I can't believe this Ruin Grader might be a better Genshin player than me. He dodged my burst! But yeah, this will probably be a little painful. That was already painful. But, oh baby, oh my gosh. It's gonna suck. At least I can get damage types that actually, you know, work for the situation, which is not always the case. In particular, it's also nice that it's easier to get burst and stuff up because it's not as front loaded, not in the slightest. Oh, baby. Okay, well, I got the important part down, which was... Oh, that... If I had died there, I would never be able to forgive myself. But I got the important part down, which was getting rid of the Pyro Mage, because that would have been hellish had I... Let's see. Oh my goodness, he was juggled too much. That was unpleasant. Yeah, I will not be actually getting this one in time in a standard way, but I will be able to... Let's see. Oh, baby. You know, it's a bad time when a single Bennett E does not get the burst back. But like I was saying, it's definitely a lot better like this. Even if I'm not actually getting the clear like I did with the hyper carry. Yeah, you know, I did find it funny because I was just sort of like, you know, I'm gonna do things in a way that allows me to use... Wait, how? Oh, that's gonna suck. I gotta do that one again because Healon is at 0 energy. That sucks. But, like I was saying, I knew already that my ride in National was, in all situations, better than that ride in Hyper Carry team. I feel that ride in Hyper Carry team is a meme. I think meme is definitely a bit strong when the most people who are ever going to see it are 2 people and me. I did it on a lark. And now I feel British. But it was funny that I just basically just kept bashing my head against the wall and using a team that I knew to be, to a certain extent, suboptimal. I don't know, we'll see. You don't watch streamers for rational decisions. You watch them to see them mess up in funny and interesting ways and then just baby rage. Is that right? Is that right? I think that's right. Yeah. I was thinking about trying to advertise this to internet randos, but I ran out of time and therefore did not do that. I was already trying to figure out the Streamlabs stuff, and... Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, the only people who really would watch me, at least right now, are people I know who are like, I want to watch Brendan play this. And I'm fine with that. I prefer it, really. But it definitely does make things a little different. And that's some good placement. Hopefully that works. Hopefully that means I can get the Ruin Grader in there and not have him just dodge out of the way of my attacks. And yeah, there he is. He's in the flower radius. He's in the flower radius. He's in the flower radius. Okay. Okay, that Hu Tao stance was lasting longer than expected. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Alright now, ladies. Hey. What's cooler than being cool? Chat, I think you know the answer. I'd like you to respond. I feel spited. Okay. Okay. Let's hit it. Okay. Hopefully. Did they all dodge it? I think they all dodged it. I think every single one. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is unpleasant. Yeah. Also, Yellen works really well because she can trigger a Fav with no real drawback to just going for Fav. Which is nice. Which is quite nice. Yeah, maybe it might be a little stupid to actually use the burst part on there. But hey, I'm getting stuff back. Okay, hopefully... Oh, but I didn't go for the fire one. That was... Oh, but then I also forgot that I literally had Hydro in my team, you know? It legitimately is easy to forget that Xingqiao is like a character who gets used with abilities instead of just a buff. It's easy to forget that the elements are actually, you know, things you can react with instead of just buffs sometimes. As dumb as that sounds. Because I legitimately was just kind of like, okay, what am I gonna do now? What am I gonna do? And then I realized that Yelan was busted it down with the best of them. Oh no, not the freeze. They really got the Morgana on me. I really got victimized by the NPC Morgana. Okay, hopefully she can actually get her burst back this way this time. We'll see. I think I'll just tap him down. Yeah, this is doing enough damage that it's fine. Yeah, I just gotta make sure that I don't just straight up die when Raiden comes out next chamber. Because if Raiden just dies, then she can't take advantage of the Bennett burst. I will say the advantage of this team is that nobody really has meaningful field time against Raiden. And then you just go to Bennett, so it's very easy to... You get more people in Bennett, so you can heal better. I mean, it's not perfect, but you get what I'm trying to say. You understand the drift. You understand the course of my argument. Yeah. I will say, it does mean I get more stream material, but I am a little surprised and not entirely well that this Abyss has taken me so long. To be fair, a lot of it is because I was purposely using a team which is arguably suboptimal, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, okay, but what is actually going on? You know? Iframes! Iframes! Yeah, it really is a hard Abyss. Which I guess makes sense considering how many absolutely cracked characters they're running or rerunning right now. Because Al-Haytham is good. Al-Haytham isn't crazy, but he's good. He's undeniably very good. I'd say he's arguably the best spread DPS. I guess that raises the question of how good spread even is as a reaction and archetype compared to aggravate. Because even though spread has more base damage, you can't take advantage of Fischl A4, which is... But you can't take advantage of Fischl A4 with spread DPS. It's not more than once. And Fischl spread DPS... No, Fischl is just such a huge part of what makes aggravate so good that spread not having access to that just kind of gimps it a little. That said, it also means that you can just pretty freely use Yai Miko without losing anything, because she doesn't have any kind of A4 to really worry about. But at the same time, Yai Miko is still arguably worse than Fischl even without the A4 involved. And her field time makes her annoying to use, because a lot of the benefits of Fischl is that she's just real quick. And in particular, what that lets you do is you can pop Al-Haytham's burst without any mirrors, without any of his infusion shards. And you can switch out, put Fischl's down, and then switch Al-Haytham back. And then when his burst disappears, you'll get the maximum number of shards for his infusion. But with Yai, her field time is just so high that you can't do that. You can put down like one turret. Which is, as you might guess, not the way you want to be doing things. But suffice it to say that it makes the opportunity cost of using Yai over Fischl less bad. But if you're using Yai, you almost certainly have access to Fischl. So it's just kind of like, okay, you're tweaking. You're tweaking. Okay, luckily I was able to iframe through those attacks, so I shouldn't really have trouble. It is interesting, because I did notice that the damage that these enemies do, even in the overworld, is surprisingly high. It's just that their attacks are quite predictable, and I find that interesting from a design philosophy standpoint, making enemies that are highly damaging but also predictable. And I think they also kind of tried to do that with the Shadowy Husk to make up for the fact that you just can't do any kind of shielding for them. And really kind of limited healing, really. But at the same time... what's I going to say? Yeah, it's just interesting from a design philosophy standpoint that they decided to do it like that. But it does make it kind of annoying in Abyss when they already have a lot of health. The only way to really have consistent DPS winners is just be constantly shooting them down. Okay, let's see. Oh, I got them all? What? One hit? That's absurd. Okay. At the very least, I need to figure out how to actually dodge through that thing. Because I'm pretty sure the reason that I'm getting one hit is because that big thing is getting melted. It's getting melted. That's getting a 1.5 multiplier to all that's already high damage because I'm standing in the Bennett burst and having constant pyro infusion. And that is really easy to forget about. It's easy to forget about elemental application to enemies sometimes, but it's even easier to forget about elemental application to you, especially self-application. Unless, for example, you are using Barbara and freezing yourself. But in particular, the example that I'm thinking about is that in Mondstadt Talent Domain, you really do want to be using Bennett just because of all the cryo stuff you have to melt. But the thing about doing that is, when you're in his burst, you're applying pyro to yourself, which means that all those cryo hits are doing extra damage. And it doesn't really matter that much, but the interesting thing that it does do is... What was I gonna say? Oh, it makes the icicles do more damage to you, which is really funny. Because it's never too much damage. But it is funny to think that, wow, I'm damaging myself by doing the icicle thing. Yeah, we'll see if I can actually get that down. Oh, there we go. I didn't even see myself kill because as soon as I broke that shard, I also hit. Okay, let's just go straight for it. Let's go for the Yeon. What? That is unpleasant, and I'll have to try that again. Maybe I just shouldn't try to actually catch them all in the Yeon skill. But I'm also just going to go for the defense this time around. Because it doesn't matter. The damage difference does not matter if you're just dying anyway. And it's not like any of the characters on the other team who actually need EM are hurting for EM. Yeah. You know, Zhongling might appreciate more EM, but she doesn't need it. And no, oh, that's unpleasant. That is a little unpleasant. If only he hadn't just gotten out of the way like he did. Oh well. Oh. Let's see. Okay, that should be good. Actually, I'm just gonna... Yeah, Zhongli's Burst is a better proposition to use this time around because I've actually got Geo-Resonance, which means that it's doing a lot more damage as compared to just not much. Oh, okay. Oh, that was just a smash. Unpleasant. Unpleasant. You should have known better. Oh, unpleasant. Well, we'll see when and why and how that presents me issues. Yeah, that's Future Be's problem. That's Future Be's problem. Okay. If that said, I probably won't beat this time anyway. But if I run into problems with Xing Chao's energy in the next couple of chambers, I will be a little unhappy. At least a little unhappy. That said, it's not too bad. Again! Okay, so as it turns out, literally nothing is gained with that defense buff because it kills Raiden from full, which means that the extra defense doesn't matter. You know, it was a hard lesson to learn and an unpleasant lesson to learn, but at least I learned it. At least I learned it. Yeah. This may be the first Abyss in a while that I don't 36 star, which would be unpleasant, but you know, whatever. In the end, it's a whale Abyss, I guess. What can I say? And maybe it's just, again, maybe it's just more copium, but it does really feel like this one is just one for the fellas, you know? That was a really, really bad enemy distribution. I can't click that link right now. What is it? Taco Man, I'm relying on you to intrepidly go where no chat viewer has gone before. Click that link. Oh! Why didn't you dodge? The best way to enjoy DBZ Abridged is to not ever watch Dragon Ball Z. And just have your entire knowledge of Dragon Ball Z be from just cultural osmosis and TFS Abridged itself. I stand by it. I stand by that. Back in high school, I had a friend who I convinced to watch TFS Abridged who was actually a Dragon Ball fan, and he got a lot out of it. He probably had a lot more fun with it than me. He probably had a lot more fun with it than me. But the fact remains is that I had plenty of fun watching what I watched without having any meaningful awareness of anything related to Dragon Ball Z whatsoever. I stand by it. I stand by that. But what? Hu Tao died again? What? Okay, I think a lot of that was probably just due to rotation being scuffed, due to not killing everything as soon as I'd like. We'll see. They went for the head, guys. They killed Hu Tao. They killed my man's Hu Tao. Hopefully, yeah, good thing that the parry event is all skill, which I have lots of. Therefore, I will have no problem whatsoever with the parry event. He regretted saying this. Yeah. He was brutally murdered for saying this one. He was summarily executed without trial for this one. He became a enemy of the state for this one. Oh wow, I was not expecting. Happens to the best of us and the eigen of us. It's important to know the difference. Okay, let's go for it. Oh no! I actually didn't want them to do that because I was so close to killing. Yeah, the one time where I don't want them to do that, they do that. What can I say? Except you're welcome. Right? Dude, I'm so funny. Okay. Okay. I was gonna try to iframe using Raiden's, but even that didn't work. Because something else just killed her before she got a single healing tick from Bennett. I feel like the world is against me now. I feel like God himself is... I feel like Mihoyo has just designated me as an enemy. Yeah, Tokyo Tomare, guys. What can I say? Well, I can't. That's my secret boss. I can never move into stop time. But... Yeah, but it's awkward on my keyboard. Which is why I don't do it. But... Oh, today something really, nice and funny happened, which is that I was able to use the little knowledge of Japanese I have to decipher some Chinese on the shirt of one of the Chinese exchange students here. Well, I mean, international students here, which is really funny because, you know, it's just all about, you know, the fact that as a language, they're very alike because Japanese basically robbed Chinese behind the school and just stole its character set for its own use, for its own malign purposes. You know, kind of like how English itself is basically just a robber's language in that way. Okay, let's actually just let Yelan heal. Okay, there we go. I think I actually managed to get it to work this time. At least a little better. Okay. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah! I feel so cool! I'm a winner now. What? As soon as I say that. Okay. At least I know that the defense buff is pretty much useless. Maybe we'll go for the max HP buff again. Maybe that's what's going to get me the win. Also, because it does actually also just increase the damage of Zhongli Burst and Puto, everything, and Xingqiao healing, and the ability of the other team to not die. All sorts of things that are important. You know how it is. Yeah, honestly. Even single Kanki is a lot like that. That said, I don't necessarily hate that. It's cool that there is a boss fight that incentivizes you to actually understand iframes and know how to use them right, especially since Abyss is at least supposed to be, you know, the end game challenge for people who know the game and its mechanics and like, you know, bringing them out to their fullest extent. So it is cool to have stuff going on that's sort of like, okay, what do you know about such and such mechanic? How are you going to abuse it in order to kill such and such enemy? No, it isn't perfect, but it is cool that something like that exists. At least I'd like to think so. Oh baby, oh baby, oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. In the end, this is supposed to be the end game challenge, and unless you're a literal whale, like not even like whale in the figurative sense, I mean like actual literal sea animal, just underneath the water and behaving strangely. You don't. Okay, nobody died. Nobody died. At least we have that. But okay. Okay. Oh! And she died from the floor effect. But as I was saying, it is a little stupid for me to complain about the endgame challenge being hard. Maybe a little. Because I've been playing this game for upwards of a couple years and it's still a pain even with, you know, fully built, fully geared up teams to get places. And these bad boys are moving around way too much. I won't have enough time like this. Okay, I need to get far away enough from them because they are gonna just use their lunge. But if I'm too close when they use their lunge, they will lunge in a bad direction. Okay. Actually, or if I just kill them here, or get them damaged enough that killing them will be easy, I can just do this and just... There we go. And that is the power of... Zhongli stuff. And positioning, and the albedo thing, turret. Yeah. It is funny that Dia's turret is like Albedo's in the sense that it does not work against shielded enemies and is therefore basically useless for shield breaking, which is really funny because it means she has nothing. It means she has nothing. Because the damage is gimped, and it's even worse because Geo is not even an element you want to use for shield breaking anyway. It doesn't meaningfully decrease Albedo's capacities in a real way that he can't shield break because you're not going to be using him to shield break. But for Dia, that is a lot, because with Pyro, you're going to be at least trying to shield break most of the time. And now you can't do that. Yeah, I know, but they've stopped making changes to her for a lot of the time, for a long time now. So it feels like things are more or less the same. Also, I think I'm not going to go for the ride-in 3 normals then charge combo this time. Because that makes it a lot harder to focus on just dodging and not dying. Because God knows I have to actually dodge here. Okay. What? Oh my goodness. I got caught on the switch? That is unpleasant. I don't even know what was going on. And, yeah, it also does increase Yelan damage, but that doesn't really mean much in a multi-target situation anyway. But, yeah, like I was saying, just, for better or worse, maybe it's my lack of mechanical dexterity just causing the problem, but doing the instant burst on switch just feels awkward for me in my setup. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I think the main thing about it, though, is that makes it serious possibility that I don't get my burst back to do more. And then it just becomes really, really annoying to just do anything if she doesn't have her burst up. Because the only good way for a Raiden national team to get its burst back is Raiden. And if you don't have Raiden to do that, you're not getting your burst back. Unpleasant. For what it's worth, as it turns out, or so I hear, the Pokemon Unpheasant's name is based off of the word pheasant and the word unpleasant. I didn't know that until recently because, to be fair, I was a small child when I played Black and White and didn't even really think about most of the punny names. Of course, you know, you can't miss stuff like Trubbish, but the ones that are more, I think esoteric is definitely a wrong-headed way to describe it. But you know what I'm trying to say. A lot of the punny names in Pokemon that are a little less instinctually easy to grasp are a lot more easily also missed by young people. Okay, let's go for it. Hopefully this is the one that counts for all the marbles. Die, 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 die. Okay. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think we can safely just kind of tap them down now. Because I do want to have enough resources for the next chamber. Hopefully, I'm not sure if she actually got that energy, but she should at least be able to get her bursted back and then better. Yes! You know, I was so focused on having enough energy for Chamber 3 that I forgot to celebrate. After nearly an hour of struggling on this one chamber. Nearly an hour, okay. I hope you're not offended by religion because I'm going to pray. Amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, those who trespass against us. And it's not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Yeah, when I have more time and not actively entertaining viewers, I'm going to say a psalm of thanksgiving. Yeah, some of you might remember the time when I literally said a psalm after rolling, I think it was an Aida? Yeah, I did a psalm of thanksgiving. Current skill cooldown, that doesn't matter. Yeah, let's go for the standard one, the one that only matters for Hu Tao and literally nobody else. Okay, cool. Yeah, this will hit it. This will hit it. This will be just fine. This will be hunky-dory. Okay. Okay. This is... Okay. Oh, isn't that funny? There's nothing for me to really hit it with right now. Silly and funny. Okay. And in addition to that, Xingqiao did not proc his sack. Okay, that sounds wrong. But he didn't proc his sacrificial sword passive, and that is not pleasant. That is less than ideal. Oh, it is not fun to have to be doing Zhongli's thing for this. I might actually have to end up going through another time just for the purpose of bringing a Quicken team here. Because the Quicken team might not be quote-unquote as strictly good. But unlike the others, it at least has a way to actually deal with this. And for what it's worth, Raiden actually did... A Raiden national team actually does pretty good against this too. But just not amazing. But, oh, this is just not great. I understand, and I actually like that the Asamon in Abyss actually uses all of its abilities more. Because it encourages you to actually, play it like you're supposed to, but at the same time, it's just kind of okay. Oh, and I can't even target it right now. Okay. Let's go. And yeah, Yelena did not get that energy despite the fact that she used her skill. That is unpleasant. Okay. What? Okay. Maybe it's not doable. Well, like this, if you scuff it... What? Okay. That was really stupid. Did you see? One of the other Eremites got caught in one of the other Eremites' bubbles. And that meant it wasn't coming to me to actually fight me. That is scuffed. That is not right. That is not how things should be done. That is perverse. That is crude. That is wrong. This is evil. This is sinister. Okay. Okay. At least... Let's see. That damage. Not good. Fell off. Scoffed. Okay, at least I can take advantage of this damage window while it... Yeah, it is nice that... Hu Tao's just pure sheer damage is good enough to just mean, okay, when the damage windows are up, I don't need to care. Okay. This should help me get this one down faster. Yeah, hopefully. But it strongly depends on actually being able to have enough time up with the various bursts. As it looks like... At least I can get that one down. There we go. There we go. That's actually much better. That is much better. I focused too much on... Okay, I focused on the wrong ads that... on the wrong minis that it had, because I went for the ones that were just going up and going down. But either way, this should be much, much more durable. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh wow, yeah, that damage is much better. Okay. Oh, and then Yelon actually got her whole burst back, her whole freaking burst back. That is very nice. I'm happy about that one. We stay winning. We stay winning here. Okay, let's go. Okay, this should be good. I'm just gonna focus on getting people's burst back, not damage. Okay. Okay. Okay, hopefully this makes it... What? Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm very close. I'm frightened by how close I'm not. Oh, I'm gonna have to try this one again. But I got... This team should be able to do it, but I gotta retry because if I cleared it right there, I wouldn't get the stars, and I would have to do all these chambers over and over again. And I don't like my odds of actually being able to beat Triple Kanky reliably. So I'm just gonna chill here. I'm just gonna chill. That was fast. I don't like how fast that was. Oh, that was a really bad rotation. Because the ads I want to get to be able to actually kind of brute force it by breaking them are the spinny ones, and we got every single one but the spinny ones. That sucked. And I didn't even know that they were completely invulnerable, which means that I need to be 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Okay, Xing Chao's skill cooldown should be close enough to good by now. There we go. That should be good. Okay, there. Yay! We got him. We got him. The ones that I actually want to go up against because I can actually knock him out. Knock him out. Okay. It's not perfect and not ideal, but you know, whatever. Don't make the perfect the enemy of the good, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And hopefully this should deal a good amount more damage and I can just get him down. Oh. There we go. Yeah, that EM buff did do a little bit of a job. It's not amazing, but it did something. I don't know why they're so much faster this time. So much faster at just getting their stuff together. I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is. Is it just... Because it can't just be RNG, can it? It can't just be RNG. Hope not. Either way, this is sussy Baka. I don't like... At least I hopefully should be able to still cycle it more. We'll see. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's exactly what was going on because I was using Zhongli's burst when I shouldn't have, and that was causing me problems. Okay. Let's try that one again now that I know what I'm doing wrong. I think what that means is no Zhongli burst whatsoever. Just because it's always just a pure damage loss. It can work for spacing. I don't even think that's the right term, but yeah. Hopefully this should be able to make it work, and I can just, with more optimal placement with the Eremites, I can get those to work too. We'll see. I hope. I don't know. I will say, though, it is at least nice that Shangwi's burst has very nice hit counts for the purpose of these. And there we go. That's actually about perfect in terms of field time there. I like that a lot. Don't think we can get more field time right now, but... And that was actually quite nice. It was actually very nice. It's a shame that Xing Chao is going to come up here scuffed and sussy. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Okay. Okay. At least I can... There we go. Might not be as good a rotation as I got before, but at least it'll be a usable one. Probably, sort of, I hope. Oh, there we go! It's more or less about the same amount of time I had last. Okay, that's pretty good. There we go. Yeah. I think it is easy for me to forget that Yelan's burst in terms of actually, you know, catching people in it. Yelan's skill, I mean, catching people in it takes real time. Because I wonder why things don't always work out. And then I realize it's because I spent... God, that sucked. God. That freezing... That's ass. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. But... I really got Morgana'd by the enemies. And that was stupid. It's not very clear when that's actually damageable or not. Because it wasn't blued out anymore. It was, the outline was filled in, but it still wasn't damageable. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And guess I gotta try that again because I didn't wait long enough. If there's any change that should actually be made to Abyss, they shouldn't make cooldowns just keep going for whatever reason. I don't know why they... There's no good reason to even do that. It doesn't even incentivize people to wail. It's just bad design. Yeah. Which you run into a lot more if you use Xing Chao a lot, or other characters who just have a lot of... Field time is not the proper term, but just characters who have bursts with long cooldowns. You run into that problem a lot. Okay. Oh, how did that just not do anything? Well, that sucks. Unpleasant, 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 unpleasant. Absolute suffering. My life is not pleasant right now. If only I wouldn't get permafrozen by the enemies, by those random Eremites. Because that was bogus. That was absolutely bogus. Let's see if this can actually do it. Let's see. Oh, it seems like they were hit by the blossoms at least. But that isn't gonna work. I legitimately might just have to switch over to a Quicken team. If it doesn't work this time, I'm just going back through with Quicken. Because the only issue with Quicken is that it just was kind of a time loss. And also, it'll probably be better for Chamber 2 because I won't need to deal with dealing pyro damage against that scorpion. But we'll see. If this doesn't work, I'm going back through. It is crazy how strenuous this abyss has been. I was not expecting anything like this. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm mad, but it's just, given how much I was able to get the previous abyss down to just a science, in terms of just, okay, Noel, Wolf Lord, whatever, it did not feel amazing when I just kind of got stuck, you know? And stuck in the sense that how do I want to put this? I mean stuck in the sense of having trouble with the team comp itself and not just with player skill. Because it really does feel like it's an issue of figuring out what kind of comp is even particularly usable right here, right now. And it's not exactly an obvious question. Because I run into questions of, okay, durability, time, charge, whatever. How am I actually going to make this work in practice? You know? It's just all complicated. These annoying, silly questions that people who play this accursed video game have to ask themselves. Yeah, but it's... I wish its resistances didn't get boosted by so much. Because it does feel a little crazy at times. Yeah, the damage there wasn't awful. And for what it's worth, Raiden National kills that thing. It doesn't matter that it only has access to Electro. Because when you're in your burst state and you're dealing with Yelan and Zhongling and Raiden sits all at once, those ads go down real quick, and then you can do an Electro hit, either with your burst or just with your skill. And then you get a bunch of energy back. It's just that I couldn't use that team for this side of Abyss. You run into the serious problem of there are only so many characters in the... Well, only so many characters in the game, and in particular, you can only use each character for one side of Abyss. Okay, let's get rid of her. Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, oh baby. And Raiden is dead, which means we are retrying with a Quicken team. Yeah, because it wasn't even an issue of just dying too fast. The main issue was... Okay, and with that I need to switch stringless on official. Let's be prudent. Okay, cool. But real quick, like I was saying, it was because I felt like I was rushing, and because I had to rush. Which was not good. Enjoy your shower. Now let's see. All of the artifacts that I'm getting from the Abyss right now are going into leveling up a Gilded Dream set for Alhaitham. If you would like to know. But yeah, we're going for Kaching Gaming right here. And then just the standard. Actually, it would be a lot easier if I used Xingqiao for this, wouldn't it? I think it would be. Because now that I'm not using a Hu Tao team, I can do whatever I like. I can do whatever I like. And the blessings are the same. Now let's go for it. We're going for Naida. We're going for the Naida team. It's time for the reality marble. Time for the reality marble. Nothing you ain't seen before. Yeah. It is nice, and I think it's very smart that a lot of the best supports in the game are bows, because there are a lot of cases where you just kind of need bows for various reasons. And it's good that there are characters who their whole deal is just, being a good support who happens to use a bow for the functional purpose of just giving you access to aim shots when you need them. I like that a lot. To me, it speaks to a lot of foresight on the part of the developers. Though again, that probably is just bootlicking tendencies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is also nice that Nida can pretty capably get rid of the Electra Aura on these characters just because her Dendro application is that good. Though I think a lot of it is also just the fact that I'm benefiting from the blessing of the Abyssal Moon this time around. Yeah, it is really just really nice to be able to reliably deal, meaningful good damage. What can I say? What can I say? And meaningful damage with Kuching, a character who people generally thought was just absolute dog water. You get it. It's nice that I don't have to worry about actually finishing this chamber in time, but I can't say that it feels particularly good to be kind of scuffing it up. I don't know what it is. It feels like... Either way, the energy here is just not coming. I don't even know what it is. At least the Eremites will make my life easier. And I can just reliably knock them down without much guilt because, after all, I am not actually... The only chamber I need help beating, or am in trouble vis-a-vis my odds of beating, is the very last one. So I can just go up absolutely ham, at least in this chamber, and just hope I get my stuff back. Rely on getting my stuff back. How do I want to put this? Yeah. Okay. At the very least, Xingqiao is doing a good job here. Yeah, lots of nice vaporimes getting off, electric charge, overload, whatever. I will say, the craziest and most difficult thing about all the elite Eremites is how little energy they give you, despite how much health they have. It is easily the most difficult thing about them to handle. And it is interesting as a source of difficulty. It kind of makes me think, okay, what was the deal? Because last time I checked, Raiden hadn't gotten a rerun at that point. So it's not like they were doing it to sell Raiden, at least not as far as I know. Again, it is interesting just philosophically from a design standpoint. Okay, why would he do it like this? Oh, new mail. Wonder whose birthday it is. Wonder whose funky little birthday it is. Yeah, I guess something is lost here via the... that... Who? We'll see. Okay. Again, it is a really good thing that I don't actually have to worry about beating this chamber in a timely manner, because it is not happening. Okay, there we go. Hopefully this can get it down, but either way, yeah, the damage that is being dealt to me is just crazy. It's honestly kind of absurd. It's at least unexpected. Well, okay. We'll see. We'll see how that works out in practice. Yeah, you don't get any particles, you switch, it all ends. And... okay. Okay. Hopefully it works out better this time around. Let's focus fire the frost. Focus fire, focus fire. Oh, and I've already got a lot of stuff back. That is really nice. Okay. 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 Okay, this is a lot better just because of all the extra damage resistance that you get from having Xingqiao up. And, like, it was kind of silly for me to forget that and how big of a factor it would have been. But it is kind of easy to forget. It is easy to forget how things, work sometimes. As unspecific as a term as that is work. Either way, it's just a matter of actually getting them down. Getting them down. One is dead. Okay, and this one is easy. This one is simple. This one will not present issues. Hopefully, we'll see. Yeah, there we go. We get the kill with Guoba. Guoba did it, guys. Dude, Guoba's so cool. I'm glad that my 4 characters on my Raiden national team are Raiden Shogun, Bennett, Xingqiao, and Guoba. Yeah, to quote Guoba, Zhang Ling, get them. Okay. Should be pretty good. I don't see too much of an issue going on. At the very least, you don't actually have to worry about damage here, which is nice. Guoba gaming. No, Guoba is gaming. Nobody else is gaming. If anyone is gaming, it's Guoba. What I will say is, oh no, 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 this is not ideal. Okay, but actually, let's go for it. I forgot. Actually, I need to retry because I forgot that I could break camo. I forgot I could break camo. Now with that forbidden knowledge now at our disposal, we should have a much better time. Okay. Okay. There we go. And now we can actually get this up too. Nice. Okay, I don't think it gets any res bonus, any shred, but at least I don't have to deal with all that BS. Yeah. It has been interesting having to manage health as a resource, given that now that I'm using Lion's Roar instead of Black Sword. Xiangling doesn't, well, Keqing doesn't really have any healing, but at the same time, okay, time to... There we go. And that feels real good. That felt really good. Ah. Yeah, it is nice to have abilities that don't actually really track in a strict sense, just because... Let's see. Hopefully I can actually make this happen. Oh. There we go. There we go. There we go. Nice. Okay, hopefully, now that I have a little more time and arguably a better team comp, I should be able to get rid of these guys more easily. Again, I don't know. And for what it's worth, Xingqiao also gives a very significant poise bonus, which also makes things a lot nicer and more convenient. So, hopefully, that should make things a lot better. I'm gonna eat my words. I had no idea that those bubbles could still keep going after you killed the Eremite. Oh, unpleasant. You know, I feel like unpleasant is gonna become my catchphrase. I can think of worse. I can definitely think of worse. But it is objectively kind of a weird choice. Sussy. Yeah, this is a little scuffed of a rotation, all things considered, but, you know, if it works, it works. It works, it works, it works, it works. It's nice that Kaching doesn't have to be too strict with her rotations. Or official, for that matter. But we'll see. Hopefully this should be able to... Yeah, we're trying to make things work. That auto-tracking on Official's Burst is rarely useful for anything, but it was really useful just now. I feel like I'm eating my words. Yeah, okay. At the very least, I got back using the other team. So things should be a little more manageable now, but we'll see. It's still kind of up in the air. Okay. Hopefully, she'll be manageable. It'd be interesting if Nida's burst stayed up. I think it's definitely possible for something like that to happen. And now they're all grouped. Okay. Okay, she has to die. But she's getting juggled too much. Legitimately, she dies too... Oh, no. That was some bull. Oh my goodness. That was some bull. That was a serious bro moment. I'm like, okay, I'm about to make things happen. And then it's like, you're in the bubble and now you're dead. Truly one of the moments of all time. Let's see. It is interesting because I don't think people have actually devoted much thought to sort of, you know, optimal combos for aggravate Kaching. They just kind of like go for it, but and I'm not entirely complaining. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it's just I'm like, okay. Let's see. It's just a matter of keeping both of these up as much as possible. It is interesting because I've definitely had to be a lot more flexible with my rotations, all things considered. It's not a bad thing, but it's definitely a lot more freeform, I'd say. Yeah. Also, the other interesting thing about the way this guy works is that he cleanses himself. It cleanses itself of all elements upon going invisible, so you need a way to both apply Dendro and Electro without having to bother with any kind of targeting. Which is part of what makes Nida really good, because otherwise you have to deal with someone like Alhaitham. I guess Cully works. Basically anyone except Dendro Traveler, maybe. Just because it's targeting the skill and the burst is so awkward to use. But either way... And I guess it's honestly actually much more of a problem with Electro than it is with Pyro at all. And oh, that was not good. I don't like that time loss. I should have found a way to dodge that just now. Either way, at the very least, even as the time intervals involved in this fight are really annoying for me, particularly in my team comp, it isn't awful. And also, he disappears. I didn't even know that. But yeah, you need a way to apply both Electro and Dendro if you want to knock him out of invisibility because of the whole burst thing. Okay. Yeah, this, in terms of rotations, this is definitely a little scoffed, but what can I say? At the very least, things are dying, and that's what matters in the end. There we go. He's dead. I killed him. Well, not yet. It is somewhat unconscious, lying on the ground as a result of my actions. I feel no guilt. I feel no guilt. I feel like I've done the right thing and nothing else. And no, that's actually a good amount of time, so hopefully I should be able to get this down. I think the issue is that I spent a good amount of time trying to... Yeah, that'll make it work, because I avoided getting them in the wrong place during the application. Oh, yeah, but the way I want to knock her out is by just using the lingering effects of burst. Yeah, that's smarter. It's a shame that Zhongling literally will not be able to get any benefit from here, but I don't think it actually matters much, does it? We gotta kill these spirits of omen, and now... Oh. What? Burning reaction? I died to the burning reaction. Okay, at the very least, you know how to do this chamber, and it's no issue. I was gonna say, the fact that I've been able to entertain you to some extent with just my constant failures in the spiral abyss tells me that I'm either decently entertaining, or you just have very few better things to do and low standards VOV entertainment. Okay. Okay, hopefully this should... It is a little easy for me to forget that a significant amount of damage is actually coming from the shred inflicted by Zhongli's shield. Because it is not exactly obvious. Let's see. And there we go. What? Okay. Yeah, something was up with... It's Friday night. All alone on a Friday night? Yeah. I wasn't having problems with damage. I was having problems dying to the burning reaction. Which is so silly, really. Also, it's interesting that you can't dodge through that wall. I would have sworn you would have been able to. It is what it is. Okay. Oh. Okay. No, seriously, I was literally walled. Okay, hopefully this should work better. As long as I can kill those spirits of omen. The issue is I was focusing on the water dancer, and she has much lower poise than her boys, and as a result, I was just knocking her around instead of actually killing and hurting things, and that was bad for my health. Yeah, unfortunately, they got knocked in bad places, but at least I can make this work pretty well. Let's see. Yeah, also gets a lot of energy back for Zhongling, which is nice. Okay. 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 And yeah, there we go. I think we got it. Do we? Do we got it? Oh. Oh, we barely don't got it. Oh. That felt good, but also bad, because it told me that if I target correctly and know what I'm doing, I can pretty decently knock him out. But I just didn't kill the first chamber fast enough. I was so close. I think what it does mean is I need to get better at positioning in the second half of the chamber, because I was knocking them to the back. And that meant that when the three other girls showed up, and they were more towards the front, I was too far away to really get them at all with anything Raiden did. I wasted a lot of that burst. And that also made recharging burst harder. Also, I need to go right here so I don't freeze right in the start of second chamber, so I don't get frozen by one of the Eremites. Yeah. I will say, if you know what you're looking for and you aim for it, there is a lot of complexity in this game. And I like that a lot. It's more along the lines of positioning than just kind of pure... And also, more along the lines of positioning than just pure kind of combo mechanics. But there is plenty of depth there if you look for it and you want to look for it. Yeah. It's a good game. It legitimately is a good game. And, people laugh, they will laugh when I say I actually like Genshin gameplay. But I do. I really, really like Genshin gameplay, because it strikes a good balance from being complicated and being simple. And most of its execution barrier comes from sort of knowledge rather than just pure... just in a sense of just being able to hit the buttons at the right time. And it's not like that isn't part of it. And you need reflexes, but it has a good balance of systems knowledge and reflexes, in my opinion. When a lot of games are just pure systems knowledge or pure reflex and strategy a lot of times, it strikes, like I said, it strikes a balance that I like and I enjoy and I think is very well done and made. At the very least, you're much better off with getting electro charged than getting frozen. Okay, at least she's much, much closer. What? Bubble? Okay, the worst part is that wasn't even me touching the bubble. It was my E skill hitting that bubble, and then the bubble exploding and damaging me. Honestly, I really dislike... Okay, another thing I would change besides the fact that burst cooldown still applies in Abyss, I would change the fact that when you pop a mist bubble, it deals AoE damage, so there's no real way to avoid it. Also, that was weird. What just happened there? Okay. Wall? Yeah. When you come to it and you can't get through it and you can't get around, you know that you found the wall. No one on Earth can make it fall. Okay. I'm just gonna iframe through that. Yeah. I will say, there's a lot of cool stuff in terms of exploration. It's just that it's really hard sometimes to actually make it work in terms of time, because I only have so much time in a day. I go to school. Yeah, much to my chagrin, I do go to school, which means that I can't spend so much time. It was exactly Pink Floyd. It was The Wall, the very popular concept album made by David Gilmour and David Gilmour and Roger Waters. It's such a good album. The interesting thing about the album is that the song Hey You in particular is on a fretless bass, which you might not know, but it's part of why the reason the intro is just so smooth and just nice. I think sludgy is definitely not the right word, but the reason the intro is so slick is because it's on a fretless bass instead of a kind of a standard bass. Oh, dang it. What? How did she take more damage from that? But the intro of Hey You is just a bass intro, and it's incredibly smooth. And not everyone knows it, but it's because the song is on fretless bass. Oh, you know, that does say something, that it always is a lot easier to kind of pay attention to mistakes when you're not the one watching, really. Because you can actually just pay attention to what's going on screen instead of, you know, how you yourself are messing up. That reminds me, because back when I was starting out, you know, in Toho games and Souls games and other things like that, other games that pride themselves on their difficulty, a lot of times people will tell you that the best way to get good is not to just naively play them, it's to watch someone else play them and learn from what they do right and what they do wrong. Which is definitely interesting in a philosophical sense. Oh my goodness, that was a little scuffed. At the very least, it means that when skill rotations come back around, getting officials back up will not be entirely easy. Oh baby. At the very least, I can knock this down. It is good that the problem I have with the other chamber is not damage, but... well, not time, but just killing myself. Because it means that things are a bit more under my control than they might be otherwise. As long as I can dodge accurately, there's really nothing getting in my way. Oh, that was funny, killing it straight from invis. Straight from invis. Yeah. And for whatever reason, it seems to stay. You know, maybe that's the real mortal lingering. The real mortal lingering is... yeah, for what it's worth, mortal lingering is funny Genshin lore. It's the reason that Pervases, who is the bird buddy of Zhao, stays in the world. It's because he has a special ritual to just not entirely die. But the joke for me just now is that... oh... you could see the invisibility effect of the... oh, nice. That's nearly perfect positioning. Okay, hopefully I'm able to not die with Raiden. Okay. Raiden Shogun, not Raiden Deadgun. Please, I'm begging you. Oh, I guess. The damage output was just not enough. Oh, baby. Well... yeah. And I talk such a big talk. Okay. Let's see. That was so close. Hopefully, though, you know, you can never be certain. I hope that the Abyss Blessings are more conducive to the type of teams I usually run next time around. Again, you can never be certain, but here's to hoping. Oh, nice. I don't even know how that happened. But either way, I managed to actually get that. I don't even know how it got that Electro application, because it was supposed to be cleansed. If this makes the difference, I'll be very happy. I will be very happy. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, there we go. Yeah, you just go for the 360 no-scope, and it doesn't matter where it went. Honestly, I think that is kind of the nice thing about Naida in the context of this fight. You don't have to worry about where you're aiming in terms of... oh, that was weird. You don't really have to worry about where you're aiming in terms of, in particular, locating it. You don't have to use visual cues or anything, you just kill it and it dies. What the heck? What just happened? How did I manage to get pinned like that? That sucked. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, the hitbox profile of this boss makes it so that Kutching, even when you're just normally aiming, even when you're not aiming more accurately, it's very easy for you to just leap over the boss, just totally randomly. totally randomly. There's nothing to it. But it'll just happen, and I don't know how it's synced up like that, but I wouldn't say I'm not complaining. Yeah. Okay, let's see how long it takes for it to die. No, for it to go invisible again. Hopefully, it takes some time. Yeah, I don't even know what it is. It's just being nice to me for some reason this time around. But either way, it's the invisibility is somehow, I think breaking on its own is inaccurate, but it's breaking very quickly. The application of various elements is timing itself in a very convenient way for me. Okay, let's see. There we go. That's actually really nice. Hopefully, if I manage to do it well, I should have a good amount of time. But you see, you have this aura, the debuff aura persisting, even though the enemy is at least supposed to be dead. That is... it's silly. What can I say? Okay, hopefully I can just kill these bad boys. Oh. I'm gonna blame that on my controller, or my keyboard just kind of scuffing it. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's really nice. That is really nice. Okay, I got a whole minute left, and hopefully the ability to just kill these stupid things. Oh my goodness. Oh baby, oh baby, oh my gosh. Okay, this should be it. This should almost certainly be it. Unless I really screwed up somehow, and I don't even know how that could happen. That might be how it happens, guys. That might be exactly how it happens. Okay, but if all else fails, just riding them to death. And there we go. After about 2.5 hours, I finally 9-star this 12th floor. That, very good. Very good. Tenacious Blaze, do you understand what I'm referring to when I say very good in that voice? For time's purpose, I'm referring to in... Yeah, dude, you played DS1? Did you ever use the goth carvings to troll? Did you ever use the goth carvings for the purpose of trolling? Because I'm going to tell you... Fair, yeah. I'm going to tell you a story which will not reflect well on me. But back in the dark days of Dark Souls 1 coming out on Switch, I got to... Once I got to Uasil Township, because I specifically looked into how I would be able to infinitely invade, by doing Dark Wraith. Because otherwise, the amount of times you can invade is, limited, because there are only so many cracked red eye orbs in the game. You can only buy them from Koth. And if you can get to Koth, it doesn't matter, you can just Dark Wraith. But as I was saying, I just made sure I could get Dark Wraith, and then what I did was, I would go to Uasil Township, I got the Dark Silver Tracer, and I would just fish for backstabs, get toxic on people, and just slowly whittle them down, let them die to the toxic. And then once they died, I would toss the very good carving down. I didn't even do the point down. I just did the very good carving, because gestures were pretty awkward to do on Switch Dark Souls. But I got so many indictments. I am not that same person anymore. I am a stronger, kinder, better man now. I would never do something so cruel and untoward as that. Yeah, but these artifacts are going straight into the Alhaitham. Let's see. Oh, there's no crit on that. I have skirmish artifacts. I don't need... Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you had fun watching me be very silly, rage in sensible amounts, and finally prevail over the current abyss of Genshin Impact. I'm glad you could see me... Yeah, I'm glad you could see me get to AR62. I'm happy that I had people watching me, and I'm happy that it seems that you all had fun. Yeah, anytime. I'll probably, like I said, I'll definitely stream next week so that I can do the Perry event with an audience. But yeah, good night. Sleep well. And with that, I think I'll shut the stream off too.